extremely uncommon. I don't think I've ever seen it, but it is theoretically possible.
Yeah, and away we go here. So right out the gate, do you think there's anything noteworthy or interesting that we can see here? Or do you think they'll do some pretty straightforward pathing here?
I mean, there isn't too much that you can do at the start of the game with no items. We see Andy and Ivan are both jumping right into Link to the Past. Wild is the only person going down to check the blue Brinstar items, just to make sure that those two items aren't something that they're going to need. Andy and Ivan are banking on those items not being immediately required.
Yeah, and just to kind of catch some people up in case they're less familiar, this is the crossover randomizer between the two games. Within the games, there are 4 different access portals that you can go to. So you saw that they started in Super Metroid, and then they went through the portal there to go into Link to the Past, and that will tie into the routing quite a bit. And yeah, just they'll go through both games, and I'll have to figure out where to go from there.
Okay, I've been checking the Lumberjack Ledge. We see just a reserve tank, so we don't need to defeat Agnem specifically for that item. And he finds the bow in the drained dam.
It's a pretty good find. Oftentimes players will go to the Eastern Palace area because Sahasrara has 3 items, and then Eastern itself will have 3. There's no lantern, so finishing is technically not in logic at this point, but with the bow, you can finish a dungeon, so it just makes things very simple, whether, especially if it's Crystal, if they'll go through and finish the game. Or, finish the dungeon, pardon me.
It's only finishing the game with it.
Don't worry, but it'll just take a little bit longer.
Yeah. Did you happen to see what Wild found in Brinstar? Because I noticed he did come back up instead of just resetting.
Unfortunately, no. But he did just find the hammer in Sanctuary. That's another really powerful early item to get. So between the bow and the hammer, we're having a lot of damage output and a lot of potential already. The hammer gatekeeps a lot of Link to the Past overworld, and the damage of it is like a tempered sword. So in terms of a normal swing, so just a very strong weapon and tool. Yeah, and it should be noted that the hard mode specifically applies to the Super Metroid portion. I know there are various things going into the works in regards to the different logics and whatnot. It is still being worked on and updated as time goes, refined by both the players and the community. So you know, definitely lots to look forward to, but the main focus was specifically onto Super Metroid for the hard mode logic. The players are very proficient. They don't actually care about dark rooms in terms of their difficulty, but in terms of the logic, the game will expect them to have a light source. So for the runners, the benefit is they get to read the logic with that in tandem to what they're able to do, but yeah, they won't actually pose a difficulty for runners.
Yeah, so one of the big interesting things that's going to change in Super Metroid though is that they'll actually have probably less of an ability to read the logic than they would have in a previous race. So one good example is Ivan sequence broke to Lower Norfair by doing a gravity jump, which was not in normal logic. He found space jump at Checkerboard Cave, which told him that since the gravity jump was not a valid method in logic to get to Lower Norfair, that the flute must have been available somewhere. But in hard mode, that would not be true, so you wouldn't be able to make that deduction.
Yeah, we saw Ivan in the chicken hut here attempt to go for a chicken clip. Unfortunately, he failed it, so his time save will remain unchanged whatsoever. Yeah, just going through Kakariko here. Pretty typical checks. Lots of items to get. Already have Varia, which is very handy.
Yeah, and so Team Farts is the only one that has found the bow. Andy, being the one who's found it, is checking out Eastern. He's going to be able to clear this all in one shot. Armos won't be in logic without the lamp, but he'll take note of that. He'll be able to clear it nonetheless. So we have Ivan doing Kakariko, since Andy's busy over here. Now, Team Wildcard, not having gotten the bow yet, but getting an instant weapon from the Sanctuary, they're split up. Had Alucard going to Kakariko, and Wild's going to Hyrule Castle. So now Wild's going to find his bow, and he might head over to Eastern now, but like with just this format makes it so interesting, the way that you decide to divide the work between you and your teammate.
Yeah, there's a lot of options that you can have, and the fortunate thing for the blue team here with Andy and Ivan, just the fact that it's really simple to go through Eastern to check for items, but just given the nature between Varia and, you know, still a few more areas here at the South Shore and the outliers like Agina and the like, you know, they wouldn't want to pair those locations together if they could. They want to get their information really quickly, but...
Did you see what was in that Eastern big chest?
No.
That was the Morph Ball.
Oh, that is huge.
Yeah, that's that's pretty close to Super Metroid Go mode.
Yeah, definitely one of the most crucial items in Super Metroid. So now we're going to really start to see some diversity open up here. And the Moon Pearl in Eastern as well.
Wow.
So yeah, Eastern came out big, so you know, I expect to see a lot of runners go to Eastern very soon.
Okay, jokes aside, that's actually pretty crazy. The most important spherical items for both games are both in Eastern.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so the Moon Pearl is not in logic without the lamp, because it requires dark rooms to get to.
Yeah,
so...
and sorry, I was just gonna say, with dark rooms, the one fire source that you would really want is lamp, but I think we just got the fire rod. It was a little hard to see between the two, but in the South Shore tour here, in the mini Moldering Cave, some health and I believe the fire rod.
I also saw Charge Beam in the well in Kakariko, which is a huge find early on, because it means they won't have to worry about making sure to pick up extra ammo along the way. And so, if they see missiles that are not quite within grab range, they can choose to skip those throughout the seed.
Yeah, and a neat little trick that you can do here is if you do a hard reset, you will always appear in Super Metroid. So Andy, doing a save and quit here, saved the progress within a link to the past, and then did hard reset, which would take him towards Super Metroid. And using that Morph Ball, already going to head over to Bomb Chorizo here.
Yeah, so since he doesn't have the Morph Ball bombs, that is what the Chorizo checks for in order to animate and shut the door. So he's just gonna be able to grab these supers and get right out of there.
Or you could be cheeky and pretend that you're doing task strats to try and get out. But yeah, without the bomb, the fight will not activate. So it makes it a much quicker check. And yeah, a bit of a pseudo sync here with Ivan and Alucard both getting their bow. And yeah, they're gonna book it to Eastern here pretty quick.
Alright, so Andy going left to Terminator, and he's probably going to lay a power bomb here and check the 2 items in the back of Gauntlet.
Yeah, not the most imposing Terminator, but yeah, we'll get a nice 2 quick check here. Back of Gauntlet. Oh, that's quick. I saw a 20 rupee and it looked like an upgrade.
I'm not sure if those were an arrow upgrade or if they were silvers.
Let's see here on mainstream. Oh, they were silvers. The aggros. It's a pretty nice item.
Yeah. Okay, well, silvers...
They're getting spoiled early on. They're getting the bow, the hammer, the pearl, the suit. Man, it's looking kind of simple.
Yeah, very suit. We're not going to be seeing power runs. The silvers, though, they're in an interesting spot. I don't know if I would pick those up. What do you think?
No, the silvers are handy, but they already have a lot of utility with them. The silvers will be very handy for Ganon, but it's like not even all the bosses in Link to the Past will require silvers. The hammer, very powerful. Fire rod, very powerful. It's a little out of the way just for the 1 item. If you're not, really hard out for checks with the front of Gauntlet, in my opinion. It's great information, but its actual use right now isn't really very clear. They're hard out for swords later, though. It'll definitely start to look much more appealing.
Yeah, that's a good point. It would be good to actually hold out for the information of how many swords you're getting. I like to do that sometimes when seeing actual swords. Like if a sword is in, say, Zorilage, I might, and I don't have the flippers, I might evaluate, I might find the 3rd sword along the way somewhere else, not have to pick up that one.
Yeah, definitely. And they would be tempting to go for it right away, but you could get items that would help you, in fact, get to it a little bit quicker should you really need it. And Andy finding Spring Ball as well as Morph Bomb. So it's a good thing he got to that Bomb Teresa check right out of the way. But yeah, 2 very interesting items. And yeah, just, the placement of everything right now is, things are starting to open up in a very interesting way.
Yeah, so that Spring Ball leaves me a bit hopeful for some Suitless Meridia shenanigans to happen. We still don't know where Gravity Suit is, and with the Spring Ball, you can actually do a second jump in midair. If you start to jump with Spring Ball off, and you pause while morphing, re-equip Spring Ball, and then hold jump during the fade out, you will get a second jump. And this can be used in place of Ice Beam for certain sections of Meridia. It can help with escaping Dragon without gravity. It can actually help get you past certain ledges like Worst Room in the Game and Lower No Fair, and getting up to X-Ray without other items. Although Andy did find the Morph Ball bombs as well, so out of water that's going to let him bomb jump most wherever he pleases.
Yeah, he has to be really careful here though. The side hoppers will do massive damage, and I guess and finds high jump in Mission Impossible. That's really nice. Just a quick little recap for people that might be trickling in. This is game 2 of between these racers here tonight. The game before was a tournament match where Alucard and WildAnaconda were coming in from winners. If Andy and Ivan won, it would have been a bracket reset, and this effectively would have been like a type of grand final type match. But because Andy and Ivan were knocked out, they are doing a hard mode logic version as an exhibition. So you still get a game 2, but a little bit different of a context for the racers. You see that Andy and Ivan are Team Blue on the left, Alucard, WildAnaconda are Team Red on the right. This is crossover rando with A Link to the Past and Super Metroid. There are 4 portals between the games where they can traverse between the 2, and the items within a logic are randomized between the 2 games. So they are racing, they are timed, but the stakes are not quite the same as they were in terms of the tournament. But it'll still be a great watch here regardless.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for going over all that.
Yeah. Oh, we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, so this is still version 29 of the A Link to the Past side of the randomizer. That is the version that was part of the latest release of the combo randomizer, which is version 10.
Yeah, it should be noted that all racers are playing the exact same seed. They do not share items. They can share information. So Andy, here, finding an item, can tell Ivan, don't go there, it's garbage. Or, you know, yo, Silvers, make sure you remember that kind of thing. But yeah, they are their individual own game. But they are all playing the same seed. So all the items will be in the same location for each runner.
You can also share such information as, holy cow, giant side hoppers do a lot of damage.
Yeah. Or, wow, it's been a long time since I've had to do that. It's awful. No, just the fun little banter, and oh my goodness, okay. High jump, half magic, lamp.
You see that double dip there that the game wanted you to do.
Yeah. This seed is so bad. Because it's so bad. Power Glove. The blue mail.
Let's just, like, as players
Triforce coming up in the Billy Maze.
As players of the randomizer, let's just be thankful that sequence breaking things is a thing. Okay, so yeah, there will be the 2 rad rupees in the Billy Maze room here. Back to the John Cena room, and we are done getting all our worth in Retro Those boulders do 40 damage, I think, so pretty sure Andy would have died if he got hit by one. But yeah, so finding the lamp locked behind the Morph Ball here. Also, Power Glove. Power Glove's going to open... actually, Power Glove is Andy's Dark World access now, so... yeah, he's going to be able to access the Dark World in A Link to the Past. Ivan probably going to make a beeline to this area, based on that knowledge.
Yep, in A Link to the Past, you need the Moon Pearl and either the Titan's Mitt or the Hammer and the Power Glove. There are 2 main portals that can access the Dark World from, not counting beating Aghanim in his tower. And so with the Power Glove, the Hammer, and the Moon Pearl, Andy can now go into the Dark World
of A Link to the Past, jump.
And also just on Space Jump.
Okay, well, so having bombs in his possession, I think Space Jump literally only adds 1 location that Andy could check. It's not even a location you can check now, but interesting quirk of Super Metroid is that the golden Joseph statue that lowers the acid on the way to Golterizo, the intended way, for whatever reason, it checks your inventory for Space Jump, and if you don't have Space Jump, it will not activate. So that is the 1 item check in the game that absolutely requires Space Jump, but for everything else, pretty much able to use bombs to get around if need be.
Yeah, bombs in both games. A very strong tool here. Having one to bomb Chorizo, not for bombs, but I forgot what was actually there, but yeah, no, just it should be noted that even though the racers are getting a lot of progression, super sorry, even though the racers are getting a lot of progression, it means that with the world opening up so much, their choices and options to find where the actual worth is starts to grow by a lot. Sometimes you like a more steady progression rather than tons of immediate progression, just because then you're able to kind of route a cohesive plan. If you get lots of items, all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, how thorough am I going to be here? How many corners am I going to cut? Which is also fun, but as a racer, it can add additional pressures. And real quick, Even if the racers do find items here very quickly, they are still required to get 7 crystals in A Link to the Past in order to access Ganon's tower and to take out Ganon for the Triforce. And in Super Metroid, you need to take out the 4 bosses of Kraid, Phantoon, Dragon, and Ridley in order to gain access to Mother Brain. And when both Mother Brain and Ganon are defeated, then you will finish the game. And whoever finishes last on either team will be their end finish time. If the person, like, let's say Andy were to finish first, he would have to wait for Ivan, and vice versa, for their team to technically be finished.
Yep, and so that jump that you may have seen Wild do across the moat, that is called continuous wall jump, or CWJ. Basically, when you do a wall jump, you still preserve the speed that you had. But the issue with most wall jumps is that you change direction immediately prior to doing the wall jump, so your speed is almost nothing. But with a continuous wall jump, you can actually trigger a wall jump check if you jump over a wall but end up within sufficient distance of it on the other side of it. So you can actually do that without changing direction if you set it up just right. That particular jump setup is a 1 frame window to jump before hitting the water, and either a 1 or 2 frame window to actually do the wall jump from the pedestal, depending on exactly where you started running from. But yeah, it's a very difficult trick that he did take a few tries to get it. One significant thing about attempting the CWJ in Randomizer in particular is Wild does not have regular bombs, so every time he fell in the water on the other side, he was going to have to use a power bomb to knock out the block to be able to get back. And if he ran out, then he would have been in a soft lock situation and had to reset.
Yeah, especially in this logic, the potential for soft locking is fairly large. Obviously, with experienced runners, they're going to plan accordingly and they're able to execute accordingly. But you know, definitely something that you have to be conscientious of. And WildAnaconda going out and taking Phantoon. So, wreck ship area here. Get to check some items to look for progression, but because you need to take out Phantoon regardless, just a very strong play to come here, get the checks, as well as to just get progression out of the way.
Yeah, so the checks in wreck ship that like the very quick ones are going to be the left and right side super missiles here, but then there's the energy tank at the very back of the ship. There's the attic missiles, and then there's all the stuff in the sky, and then there's all the stuff past the silver bowling statue, we call it. And that all, I'd say, all that put together takes about 8 minutes extra. And so, if Wild's Wild's gonna clear this whole area, possibly ascertain whether Alucard has to spend that 8 minutes getting some of these items or not.
Yeah, unfortunately nothing in here for Hit for Andy. He's first person into the Dark World, damn map check. I believe Ice House is a pendant, and I missed where the other pendants were, but almost every Dark World location is a crystal, obviously. But
the Wild doing the sponge bath bomb jump gets it, I think, second try. That's a pretty it isn't super difficult, but it's definitely tricky to lay the bomb at the right height. It's kind of finicky doing it just at the waterline, but does make it up there. That is in logic in hard mode. Even just with power bombs. So again, the risk of him trying to do that with power bombs is that he can run out of them. With regular bombs in your inventory, it's much safer to do that.
Have a shovel game for Andy here. See how many he gets. But yeah, I have an Alucard kind of thing up a lot.
Oh, and
little
Andy
areas,
gets
and he
gets a vanilla flute from the dig. Oh wait,
Wait, but how many digs did that take?
it was definitely more than one.
I can't believe he missed the dig spot 5 times before he got the first try dig. Unbelievable.
Yeah, you think you know where to aim by now.
I know he hasn't done NMG any percent in a little bit, but you know.
Oh, you can get a 125 without knowing where the dig spot is. So confirmed.
It's good he remembers pumping though. The tech that matters.
The tech
Yeah,
that's back. Oh.
I was gonna say, so he's gonna activate his fleet here, and this will give him not only quicker access around the world and Link to the Past, but he will be able to go to Death Mountain, and that will be a nice, quick entryway into Upper Norfair. Pretty standard forerunners to save the old man to get to the save point. Andy forgetting that he doesn't have Titan's Mitt, so we have to go around the other way into the other Dark World portal here. So we're going to forgo heading to the mountain, which makes sense because the village does have a lot of checks against the Fire Rod. No sword to get into the back of Skullwoods, but still some very quick item progression here that may in fact help on Death Mountain should you choose to go there right after.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to delay the trip up to Death Mountain until you have either the mirror or the hookshot that you can actually make use of being there. But also the Norfair portal is going to be really useful. I'm actually surprised by this point that none of the runners have made their way to Kraid just yet. Kraid's usually really early check. But with the flute being where it is, it's a bit understandable that they wouldn't end up in the Norfair area just yet.
Yeah, there's some plays that are a little bit more straightforward to do, a little bit kind of linear in a sense where you can just do them, and they're a little bit more throwaway. It's like, oh, sure, you know, it's more of a guaranteed thing. So Kraid tends to be a lot earlier, but both these runners having some creative ideas and doing what they feel you know, I think it's more worth their time currently.
Oh, no, nobody's having creative ideas, at least, because none of them are there.
Criteria power bombs having super missiles, so...
it's not a very creative item.
Nope.
Okay, so Wild's having to play ball with these trippers. Not having high jump or space jump is hurting him quite a bit here. He has to... so basically, these particular trippers, they do not move off screen, so you have to get them on screen to be able to reach the top one. And it's just a piece apart.
Yeah, they can be a pretty big pain here, but...
I'm sure you know.
Oh, yeah. But thankfully for Alucard here, you won't have to bother with them. Yeah, I've been checking Gauntlet here. Andy in Thievestown. Thievestown has 4 items within the dungeon. There are 4 chests at the very front, so it's a nice quick check whether you want to finish the dungeon or not. Although in this case, it should also be a crystal, so Andy will go ahead and continue to finish this as passive progression. And
Alucard finding space jump. I bet Wild is really wishing that he had that right now, or had it just a couple minutes ago.
That's also a really fun thing. It's like you hear your partner going, "Okay, I'm gonna go for this very difficult, arduous item check that will take 1 minute." Then the other partner goes, "Oh, I found space jump." It's like, well,
yeah, space jump would have made getting across the moat way easier too. Although, like, I know these guys. I know especially Wild gets a lot of enjoyment out of doing the harder stuff in Super Metroid. So Although it was time loss for him, maybe not a loss in his eyes.
Yeah, there is personal satisfaction that goes into doing certain tricks, being in certain situations. So, you know, I'm sure all too eager to showcase, as well as passively practice, you know, these various techniques.
Wild's taking care to lay that power bomb a little bit extra to the right so that it gets rid of the shot blocks behind the wall here. Saving one, so he only has one for the way back. Those bomb blocks do reform. Wrecked ship in particular I find is very power bomb heavy if you don't have regular bombs. It's very easy to end up in situations where you can be soft locked due to running out. The ball tunnel on the way to bowling requires a bomb jump inside it too. So if you don't have spring ball, that's another power bomb you have to use.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been doing some of these wreck ship area checks here. Andy very nicely kind of sinks to your leg to get through the spike trap room without having to wait for them. And just finishing up these 10 here. Alucard making his way through Gauntlet. Gonna get his silvers. Just power bombs in Thieves Town. You do not actually need the hammer for Thieves Town. In this case, they do because they don't have a sword to take out blind. But that one chest right there, the big chest, is all you would need the hammer for in order to finish Thieves Town. So because of the low requirements, it's a very appealing early dungeon typically in the randomizer for A Link to the Past to go through. And going into blind. Blind has 3 phases. It doesn't matter what damage the strength of your weapon doesn't matter what the strength of your weapon is in terms of damaging blind. You have to do 3 sets of 3 for a total of 9 hits in order to take a blind. Every time you do 3 hits, you will take out one of these heads and they will be added to the room. But the way blind moves is determinative if you do the fight the same every time. With the hammer, it's a little bit different, but still no problem. And unfortunately, only finding some blueberries. Pack 3 bombs here, but got the crystal, so progression was needed regardless.
Yep. And again, Ivan fighting boss in Super Metroid that's required no matter what. Phantoon trying to get as many missiles in sort of simultaneously at the end of the round while Phantoon's trying to disappear. Using a technique we call the Doppler effect. Normally Phantoon will phase out of existence if he takes more than 450 damage in a round, and a missile does 100. So on the 5th missile, he'll be trying to disappear. But the way that runners approach him is if you fire at least 340 beats per minute as you're walking towards Phantoon, you'll actually, your walking speed will push the missiles into him. So each consecutive missile will actually strike him before he gets a chance to disappear. And so Ivan Wilds, I believe, both got 3-round Phantoons. You can get a 2-round with the Doppler effect. It's very difficult. Wilds pulled off a very nice 2-round in the last game. Yeah, so Andy, now dipping into Scoads very briefly. Without a sword, cannot get to the back where Mafia would be, but can still check one more item here and could check the opening of Scoads, but that is a fairly decent time sink, especially having the flute and access to a lot more of the game world. As well, picking up his high jump boots here. So yeah, after all that progression, things now drying up a little bit here. Yeah, we do have we have had that Variasuit for a long time now, and with Dark World access, like there's quite a bit on the table. So Wild's getting the gate glitch here very easily with high jump. The gate glitch here is in logic with high jump. It is possible without, but because for the positioning of the super missile, you have to be flush against the wall. Without high jump, you have to do a setup from within the doorway, jumping out of it to still be flush against the wall, but have the necessary height to get the super through. It's a bit trickier. It's not in logic, but did not have to do it. So, you know, hard mode logic still has a number of things that are deemed too difficult to be forced to do. Probably escaping Dragon without the gravity suit, or getting to Dragon without the gravity suit fully is one of the bigger things that is still a sequence break in hard mode.
So you're saying is we need an expert mode?
Yeah. Wild actually brought up the idea of like an insane mode or a masochist mode or something of that sort, where just like anything that's humanly possible is kosher.
So a fun mode. Gotcha.
Yeah. So, they're crazy things. This would have like
no high jump lava dive.
Oh, no high jump lava dive. Yeah, that'd be one thing. Another thing is high jumpless wall jumps in the pre-cathedral and worst room in the game. Just very, very precise wall jumps that are basically nearly impossible. Pixel perfect, that kind of thing.
No problem. Let's see it. They're good runners. I believe in them. You guys want to see that chat? Should definitely get that kind of exhibition going. I'll be there for it. For sure.
Yeah. One thing that Total's thrown around the idea of is actually bringing hard mode logic to the ALTTP side and including some things that are not in any form of the current Link to the Past randomizer. So possible dark rooms being in logic for a future hard mode, and minor glitches, bomb jumps.
Yeah, I'm all about bomb jumps. But yeah, so of course Andy did go to Death Mountain, rescue the old man. That will give the mountain cave save point. So quick access to Death Mountain at all times here, very handy, which also means quick access to Upper Norfair. Alucard finding Book Medora on the way to Crate here, so can use that to check the tablets. And as well, that is desert access. Don't have the boots, so it could be boot locked, but with the glove and a fire source, might be possible to finish desert and Lemola. In this case, though, desert is the green pendant, so would not be crystal progression, but 2 items in desert and the green pendant would make for 3. So that could be a bit of a hint there, but still so much on the table yet to be seen. And
yeah, even like in
see this quick kill here from Kraid, maybe.
Alucard looks like he's going for the charge. He's going for the charge beam method, freezing Kraid's hand, getting 4 supers in.
Oh, that's very good.
If you shoot Kraid in the face with charge beam, or the belly even actually, when he's risen up, shooting his belly has the same effect. But if you shoot him with the charge beam, it freezes his hand in place to make getting to his mouth potentially easier, potentially harder if you freeze it in the bad spot. But yeah, finally, finally seeing some action in the Crate area, and some hot Norfair action coming up probably.
Let's see what you did there.
I don't know what you're talking about. Always accusing me of things.
Yeah, we'll see Andy also attempt a quick kill crate here. Not too difficult, but can be a little bit finicky. Positioning can play a pretty strong role in facilitating a very straightforward fight. Alucard, or not Alucard, Anaconda. Wild Alucard. Anaconda 2004. Getting an old man here, gonna get his save point.
Team Aluconda. Getting
Aluconda, yeah.
Getting that old man. I'm glad that this is the last match of the tournament, so that I can say things like Team Aluconda, and they can't bar me from commentating future matches because there aren't any.
Yeah, area locked in. I'll be like at the comedy club where you see the hook kind of come out after two main bad jokes. But it's okay because the club is shutting down. I'll have to make sure we can get them all out here.
Yeah, we're all, you know, time to have fun, let loose.
This is Speed Gaming After Dark. Welcome to everyone.
Also let loose because one team will lose.
But yeah, we have Ivan putting extra to use there and using grapple in order to save himself. So that was really creative. That was pretty well. It was fluid. It was fun to see. But checking X-ray and yeah, sorry, ice beam locations, blah blah, runners. Lots going on.
Yeah, getting through here with just space jump can be annoying because the waivers tend to get in your way. He gets a very nice damage boost on the way back, anticipating where that waiver is going to be. But yeah, Wild is going to be the first one making the most headway into Norfair. I like what he's doing here. So he's laying a power bomb at the end of Cathedral to reveal this item without actually going down to lava and checking it. Just one of those really heads-up moves. He thinks about things like this a lot in terms of efficiency and randomizer. It's one thing that makes him such a strong player.
Yeah, you can be really good at the speedrun, but that actually doesn't mean that you'll be good at the randomizer. A lot of fundamentals will carry over, but that does not mean that everything will be synonymous or applicable in that same sense. Unfortunately, Andy not going for the reverse slinky got my heart up a little bit there, but that's okay. Sure, we'll see some other fun stuff in the rest of the race to make up for it. I've been getting his book here, so I haven't really seen the book get put to any use. Again, that will open up Desert, but it's just not very appealing considering how much they have. But still very much worthwhile picking up, especially on the way to Kraid here for Ivan.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see how that story unfolds.
I don't think Alucard got the quick warp there, but doing his map check here. So our red crystals are Turtle Rock and Palace of Darkness. The reason why they're red is to help indicate that they will give access to the Pyramid Ferry. When you get both of those, you are able to buy a big red bomb from the bomb shop just north of Alucard here. And that will allow you to gain access into this pyramid area where normally this very large ferry will give you a butter sword and silver arrows, but of course in this they'll just be two potential items. Because of the high requirements for Turtle Rock, though, the value there tends to be a little bit less than other areas, but it remains to be seen.
Yeah, it really just depends on like you look at what items you have currently and how much more you still need to get the access to the dungeons for the red crystals. You kind of do the same thing, evaluating the chances of the pedestal being required throughout the seed if you haven't gotten to check it yet.
Suitless Meridia. Suitless Meridia.
You know, interesting thing about Suitless Meridia here.
Here we go.
It will take literally one chest opening to potentially ruin the possibility that it will be required.
Oh, it's required.
We'll see. We'll see.
No, it's required.
So Andy's making use of the mid-air spring ball jumps that I mentioned earlier. He does not have Ice Beam, so that is the only way that he's going to be able to climb this room. The more traditional way to get up here is by freezing these enemies and using them as platforms.
I thought the traditional way is using that suit that we're definitely not getting for this Meridia area. But yeah, the fish, somewhat important. Definitely want to have your Ice Beam. But Spring Ball, very handy. Well, Anaconda, taking on Crocomire, a little bit of out of the way kind of area, but Crocomire is Q's boss, and so I don't blame Wild for beelining here to come say hi.
The bees aren't even in this game.
That'd be so rude if bees are patched out. Like, just in general.
No, but imagine bees in Super Metroid. Like...
They have like one of the little fireflies flying around you. It'd be pretty fun.
What if you could have what if you could have like a Zebo attack Ridley for you or something?
That'd be pretty funny. Like you could have that as a utility, and it's like, oh, you don't have Charge Beam. Well, it's okay. Just spend 5 minutes sitting here. You'll get through eventually. Just dodge everything. Whittle down the health with a Zeb of some sort.
So I saw Andy jump down after checking the two items up here, but not having Ice Beam, you need both Ice Beam and Spring Ball to make it up the fish tank room that way, and that's a very seldom used route doing Suitless. Oh, the Titan's Mitt. Actually, I don't know if he saw the other item here before. So the item in the window there needs to be accessed from the room over to the right, the tunnel in the left wall. The room to the right is called Mount Everest. The room Andy's in right now is called Main Street.
So there's Main Street, but then there's like Mama Turtle Avenue, right? Like it follows something like that, right? Like there's definitely an avenue, right?
No, there doesn't have to be. There doesn't have to be an avenue. This isn't Monopoly. I know some people just want to call everything Avenue, like oh, Alucard's in Pod Avenue.
Well, there's Hoey Street.
Ivan in the Bubble Mountain Avenue.
Yeah, Titan's Mitt, very, very strong find here. That will open up my area with the flute. No mirror to go into desert, so the book might still be useful there. But yeah, Meyer will have the shed, and still no hookshot or boots in order to get into the dungeon, but could get some information, quick checks there. As well, the mitts will give more Death Mountain access for item checking, and you will require it for Ice Palace. They can fake flipper to get into Ice Palace without the flippers, but they would still need the Titan's Mitt. And yeah, no, just a very, very good item to find. Opens up additional checks in Village of Outcasts as well.
Yeah, I think one of the best things going for Andy having mitts right now is the quick Lower Norfair access. He has pretty much everything he needs to do Lower Norfair pretty cleanly. Actually, I notice he only has 7 current Sapers, so I'm not sure how he's doing there. He does have Charge Beam, but no beam power to go with it for the Ridley flight. So as long as he actually has a decent amount of max supers when he gets there, he'll be fine. But yeah, I don't know. Alucard finding Bombos in the pod Dark Maze, which is not going to be very effective against Ridley, unfortunately.
No, unfortunately not. But Quesadilla Platter, Bombos, because they have the Fire Rod, they won't actually need it to gain access to Ice Palace, but it can save magic. Even though they do have magic, as a medallion in this seed, just not entirely that useful, but still noteworthy and might be necessary for Mire and Turtle Rock access. But
I still think it's a good find. I think he deserves a medal for it. Yeah, it's still valuable either way.
Your pun ability has me quaking. But yeah, GT, not to be confused with Gun Tower, here on WildAnaconda's screen. Tend to take out Gold Trees though.
He's shooting super missiles at a tower. I don't think that's very safe. It appears to be throwing them back at him, so that's definitely not something.
Doesn't seem like a very effective strategy.
Also, Andy finding the Ice Rod in the watering hole.
So that means it can beat Ice Palace now, right? That's how it works.
Oh, what it should mean is that you should be able to flood the dam, go into Swamp Palace, and use the Ice Rod to freeze the water and walk across it.
Very nice Terrapin room there from Alucard in the energy gaining percent, as well as other Link to the Past Spear categories. Typically, you might have your Master Sword and be able to take them in a strong fashion, knock them all down, hit them before they jump back up. He waited there in order to hammer them both at the same time, but still just very clean in that one little room there. Taking on a Helmosaur, needs 17 hits to take off the mask, and then there is a jewel that will get revealed, but with the bone silver, so we're able to shoot one silver and take it out very quickly. Andy looking to check sand pits here.
I can't believe nobody has a sword yet.
I can. Swordless, suitless, the dream. And maybe bootless. Well, Andy did find the boots here before, the left sand pit. So maybe he's really hoping to find them. And Doros is convenient per the routing.
Alright, so Wild is going to power bomb these Ripper 2s over and over again. They're a 99.6% chance of dropping a super missile. He's going to try and get his super count up in preparation for heading over to Ridley soon. He's not filling up all the way, so I guess when he gets there, he's going to make the difference up by using the grapple beam to farm Zeppos right before Ridley's room. But yeah, Space Jump is helping him out a lot here in clearing the Lower North Air.
Yeah, just a very nice ability tool to have, especially early on like this. Let's see, Alucard. Going to check the Pyramid Dome here. Just some missiles, not going to bother them.
Andy doing a spring ball jump to get up to that ledge here. It's not necessary. If you start your jump from within the sandfall, you can actually make it up to that ledge. He's doing another one here. This one isn't necessary either, but it's probably a fair bit easier than trying to break free of the water line with wall jumps. But yeah, the left sand pit. Breaking free from that water line is frustratingly difficult for a lot of people. When you're wall jumping, you have to go side to side pretty much as fast as possible to break free. If you have space jump, you can, just once you reach the water line, do a space jump straight out of the water, and that's relatively easy. But that used to be in Logic just with high jump, and no space jump, no spring ball. But enough people complained about it that it was actually added to V10 hard Logic to require space jump or spring ball for that room.
Yeah. And saw on WildAnaconda's side, he was in this room that looked like a heart kind of shape, heart room, I think. And he found an ice beam there. That's pretty cool.
Oh, was that was a top worst room of the game?
Yeah, the shape of the room is like, it's kind of like a bit of a heart. And
Okay.
or Mickey Mouse head.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse room is what that's more often called.
Yes, more often. Yeah, definitely a nice find. Gonna do a little farming here. Gravity, or grapple beam, very handy.
Oh, he's making the drops defy gravity for what it's worth. Alright, so anyways, he's gonna get a super count up as high as he can. Super missiles normally do 300 damage, but certain enemies have different vulnerabilities. A fair amount of enemies are actually weak to super missiles and they'll take double damage. Ridley is one of those, so they'll do 600. Ridley has 18,000 hit points. And so missiles doing 100, supers doing 600. Supers are by far the fastest DPS you're going to get on Ridley. It's actually double the DPS of your full beam combo, and all Wild has is Ice Beam. So.
Hey, did you catch what was on pedestal?
Did you throw it?
No, but Alucard went and checked the pedestal and saw that there is a better copy of a sword that I don't currently have at all. So, vanilla pedestal currently.
So, a better copy of your sword that you don't... So there's nothing on pedestal, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
But yeah,
don't worry,
so...
we'll get in V30. No, just for the record, the seed, it's not currently a swordless or a suitless type seed. It's just as it's going on right now. We have not yet found a sword or the gravity suit. So this is kind of a bit of the running joke. But we did just find a copy of a sword on the pedestal. They do not have any sword at the moment, but should they get 3 penance, they would be able to get a sword.
They do not have any sword in the moment, and we're starting to see why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me though that there would be swords locked behind a sword. You do need the master sword in order to get the tablet items, so it would be pretty funny if there was another sword on a tablet. But in order to finish Skullwoods, they would need a sword to cut the curtain in order to get to the back. As well, you do need at least the master sword in order to defeat Ganon. So there are swords out there, and we know where one is now, and it's on the pedestal, and that may in fact be our first sword.
Yeah, so in the competitive formats, races, when I see a sword that's in a very difficult spot to get, like one I know I can't get now, maybe it's mirror locked on the DM floating island, or maybe it's on pedestal, you know, just you can't get it, but the knowledge of it does play a part in that. You see that sword and you're like, okay, you write it out of the pool. You know that that's one fewer sword that you're gonna find doing item checks.
Yeah, I was... Sorry,
speaking of swords,
I was itching because I'm like, Alucard is going into Skullheads. He doesn't have the mirror, and he already knows it's on the pedestal. So this is a really interesting play, and I was just watching him, and well, you can now go to the back of Skullheads because you do need the sword to cut the curtain.
This is one of the most annoying places to find your first sword. Because of needing the sword to cut the curtain here, generally you will avoid going to the back of Skullheads without it.
When Andy went to go check Vanilla Big Key in Skullheads, I was actually surprised that he didn't go to the back of Skullheads in a way, just because, I don't know, just given the situation. Normally you wouldn't really do that, yeah, it would be a very annoying location, but having the fire rod and yeah, just... I don't know, I really do like that Alucard. Decided to go check. A big time investment to go to pedestal and then back into the Skullheads area, but considering all the items they did find and how things are slowly starting to dry up, yeah.
Yeah, so in a 2v2 format though, it is just generally more worth it to cover some of these out of the way areas if you're in the area, because the upside is that you can check that off for your opponent. Your opponent doesn't need to do that check if you find out that it's worthless.
Yeah, you can consolidate a lot of options just simply because of the communication and the way you're able to allocate your resources in terms of team and the time you can spend. Alucard having a nice Mothula fight there would take...
Ivan is in a rough spot right now. He's got, I think, 83 energy. These key hunters will do 100 damage to him with the Varia suit. And... yeah, so he just got Spazer, hoping for maybe an energy tank at the Firefleet item location to heal him up, but no such luck. He gets Spazer instead. And so he's just got Spazer and Ice, and having to actually kill these key hunters because he has no other way to deal with them. Could chance dodging them, but they do 100, he would die instantly. And they have a lot of HP. They have 1800, and they actually take half damage from taking a death there to that Dusgiga. That Dusgiga does 80 with Varian. But yeah, key hunters, the red key hunters take half damage to a lot of uncharged weaker beam combinations. Power and wave by themselves actually don't hurt them at all. But like Ice alone only does half damage even. I think Ice and Spazer does full damage. Charge beams do full damage, but yeah, they're just stupidly resilient. They don't even take damage to missiles. They don't take damage from power bombs. So like, one neat thing you can do with a lot of enemies in Super Metroid is called hitboxing. This comes into play more so when you get Plasma Beam, because it pierces enemies, but if an enemy is taking sort of like more continuous damage, either from plasma or the power bomb, you'll actually be able to run through the enemy during its invincibility frames without getting hit. It's known as hitboxing. But because key hunters aren't vulnerable to power bombs, they're one of the few enemies that aren't. You cannot dodge them by hitboxing them with power bombs.
And of course, speaking of bombs, I've been having a blast of a time getting through. And unfortunately, all that valiant effort was to waste here, taking another death. The save is nice and somewhat convenient, but this will add up a lot of time.
So you can hitbox Dusgigas with power bombs. That is a thing that we could do. But actually, okay, so he has 11 power bombs. Now he has 9. Kind of not a great count for him. If he had See, if he had more power bombs, he could do a Crystal Flash. So Crystal Flash is a maneuver that you can do if you have at least 10 of each ammo, plus an extra power bomb to lay to initiate it. You hold shoot LR and down while laying a power bomb, and it fully heals you. So that would be an option for him, and that's actually an option to help out with a lot of hell runs in hard mode that we do not see in this seed. But fortunately, he doesn't have enough power bombs. He needs a whole bunch to get through this area. Like, actually, now that I... What he could have done in this situation was, with 11 from the save point, he could have done a Crystal Flash there, and then made his way up through the Key Hunters to get more power bombs from the Fireplace, since those are guaranteed power bomb drops, and then come back down. But he did make it through eventually, so he'll be fine now. These Ninja Pirates drop a lot of health and supers.
He didn't go through the platform though, Jen's game.
Well, he would have died if he did that. What do you want from him?
Sure, with that attitude. But yeah, now he'll get to do some farming, so quote-unquote hard part over. Anaconda, of course, since it's Meridia, getting Titans in it. PogChamp, we found it. Excitement on the team all around. You can see Alucard running even faster. Not actually all the way through these town to go there immediately. Probably.
Okay, so
taking his time a little bit in the spy trap room there and gets probably the hardest Gibbo RNG there, and unfortunately also it goes north there and just tanks the Gibbo, not a problem. But yeah,
I hate that room with the I don't even know what you call it. The room he was just in retank the Gibbo. Like I never know how to read that room properly.
Yeah, you really have to pay attention to the Gibbo, but the Zazek can still get in your way as well, so it can be a little bit of crapshoot there. But with red mail, tanking won't be an issue at all.
Okay, Ivan fighting Ridley, 30 supers for the kill. No problem. I kind of wish Randomizer didn't stock you so much ammo, because most Ridley fights are over super quickly like this. I think Ridley's one of the most fun bosses in Super Metroid, and when you have lower equipment, skill comes into play with it a lot more.
Very nice. Samaria. That's quite a handy item to have. You need it in order to beat Turtle Rock and Misery Mire.
Where was Samaria? I didn't see.
Lava Turtle, I believe.
Okay, so...
Right.
Alright, so this is interesting. I mentioned before Andy jumped down, like when he was climbing up Main Street, he jumped down towards the fish tank room, which is on the way to Mama Turtle, but he realized he wasn't going to be able to get up onto that fish without both Ice Beam and the Spring Ball, so he had to climb back up Main Street. He may not be fully aware of the ways to get to the Mama Turtle room, Suitless. If you go through either of the down-facing doors in Mount Everest, they'll take you to the fish tank room. If you go through the right one in particular, that one lands you safely on a platform where you're not going to, basically you're not going to get stuck. If you go down the left one, if you're not prepared with an Ice Wave Spazer charge shot to freeze the fish directly under you, you're going to fall, and you're not going to be able to climb back up. You're going to be like at square one at the start of Main Street. But you can get to Mama Turtle, and I think Andy just maybe wasn't really cognizant of that, so... Wild gets the area out of it, and Andy's passed it up. Probably in the back of his mind for like when he gets gravity later, but...
Yeah, the cane won't pay off too much just yet, although with the Mets, you know, that portion of Death Mountain is starting to come into play here. But Andy gonna take the book and go into Desert. Looked like he's contemplating going into Mara Era to do the shed check and get the information there, but instead hopped down and went into Desert. It is a pendant, but not currently boot locked, and we'll find the mirror. So very, very nice play there to go into Desert first.
Yeah, that's a good find for sure. But
yeah, that will give access to Hera and the rest of Mountain there.
Yeah, Wild though, getting that cane that you mentioned not being immediately useful, but Turtle Rock, he does have Fire Rod and Ice Rod and the Mitts and Hammer and, you know, pretty much everything needed for it, save knowledge of the medallion. But we know where two of them are collectively, so...
Yeah, Wild in a very good position here. We'll need the mirror, but otherwise, yeah, Turtle Rock. Still have to make sure that we have the proper medallion, of course, but otherwise still a very nice location to check.
Yeah, so Wild's is... I mean, we were speculating about the location of Gravity Suit, maybe, but Wild is just going to charge ahead and most likely finish up Meridia without it entirely.
Yeah, and about to fight Lamola. Botwan. No, Bottoon. My bad. Is there? Are we sure that it's really the same enemy here? It goes into the hole. For all we know, different colors of bots are appearing.
The different colors are they have to do with the palette used for Link's sprite, so that's why you see them change.
Oh.
But yeah, so pretty much up to here, I think up to the missile before Dragon is considered within logic without Gravity Suit. But Dragon's item, defeating Dragon and escaping, is not. There are a number of ways to do so, but none will be forced on you in hard logic. But Wild's very seasoned Super Metroid player. He is not afraid of that at all. It's a bit of a time sink compared to having gravity, but without the knowledge of where gravity is and the potential to just skip it entirely, he's just going to make the play and go for this.
Yeah, Alucard doing a double check on the mitts there. Yep, those are my mitts, and making a beeline here to get them. It will open up quite a bit. Of course, Anaconda making a lot of headway here. We'll be able to rule out a lot of locations, but yeah, just some convergence here, Ivan. Of course, having finished early, gonna try and get his mitts here now too. It's like it's kind of contemplating a little bit.
Yeah, so the mitts are such an important item for opening up the late game in Link to the Past that everyone's just kind of converging here eventually.
Yeah, they did have a lot of progressions, so of course there's a lot of exploration, but now there's going to be the convergence. Anaconda indeed taking on Dragon, so we'll get a check here, and of course this is progression. But
yeah, so killing Dragon, especially with the grapple beam, killing Dragon isn't a particularly difficult part about this. I mean, with grapple beam, you get grabbed, preferably near a turret, and then latch onto the turret to electrocute Dragon using your suit, It's gonna get a very fast kill here. Oh, never mind. He was close.
Yeah. Angie having a little fun with the dead rock there, hammering it, going in front of him and getting in his way, but you can move off screen to despawn the dead rock as well. There are 2 different ways to kill the dead rock if you really wanted to, but...
Yeah, so Wild's defeating Dragon and gonna check this item here, but to get out, you see him unequipping Spring Ball. He's going to do some mid-air spring ball jumps. That's one option for getting out of the room before Dragon, which is called the Precious Room due to a typo. But to get out of Dragon's room itself, he's going to do what's called a grapple jump. And you saw him doing these in the Aqueduct, the big pink room earlier in Meridia. But it's a bit more difficult here since he has to get momentum from bouncing off of the ledge here, and he gets it first try. The way this works is if you have upward momentum from a swing and you morph and unmorph, the game will treat you as if you're on the ground momentarily, as long as you're still rising. So you can actually get in an additional jump, and you can chain these infinitely. It's a great way to get around Meridia suitless. Yeah, so Ivan's going to be doing some in Mount Everest, most likely. I mean, it's not necessary in Mount Everest, but it definitely helps. Okay, yeah, never mind. He's not going to do it. Ivan, I believe, did pick up Cane of Samaria. I think I saw him pick it up. I'm actually second-guessing myself now.
Alucard went and picked it up.
Okay, it was Alucard. Alright, so... Okay, if Ivan did not pick that up, then that's a bit concerning for their team.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... like... In the 2v2 format, you're in a Discord call with your partner, and you have to relay information to them verbally. You can have their stream up on the side. We did rule that as allowed, but you're paying attention to your own game and you're thinking about the overall game plan between you and your partner. So you're not going to be watching your partner all the time. You're going to miss things, and so Andy maybe not being as familiar, not thinking about the fact that he could have gone to Mama Turtle under those suitless conditions, maybe did not think to mention anything about it to Ivan. So it was just like, okay, yeah, nothing in front of Meridia, and didn't really think anything else of that. And then so there's a communication issue here, possibly. I don't know for sure that's what happened, but it's fairly likely that it's just like, okay, yeah, nothing in the front of Meridia. So Ivan may have had the locations in mind himself, but because Andy didn't, Ivan's thinking, okay, well, write off the location because he assumes it's included in what Andy says is nothing.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate, especially because given the items with Medallion, Andy could have entered Turok, but here we are where they're going to be missing Cane. And there is a fair bit of the world left, but as for when they get that Cane, it'll, remains to be seen. And regardless, there'll be a bit of a time hit here.
Oh, Ivan definitely grabbed Titans, but we're concerned about the Cane of Samaria that's in Mama Turtle's room. Oh, and yeah, like honestly, this did make me think back to one of our earlier matches where somebody in our team missed the hook shot in a particular place. Not gonna name names.
I'm not sure what you're referring to. I've been doing a very nice ice clip there. Going into bot lane.
Wild using a Super Metroid.
First tragic power bomb for Andy.
Wild's using the hook shot to take out the hook shot block in the ceiling there, and yeah. So doing the Shack tool check suitless requires actually a very specific combination of items in the logic. It requires high jump, ice beam to freeze in a veer. One of the Dragon babies in the sewers to use as a platform to get here. Grapple to break the block in the ceiling, and space jump to break the water line once you're above that grapple block. Did I mention spring ball? Spring ball? You need spring ball to get through the tunnel here without gravity as well.
Something you didn't mention is that the basketball player is named after the enemy, right?
So there's there is a
word sick kid, and the flipper is is actually a Shack tool here.
That is
a lot of interesting items very quickly.
That is in logic, and that is actually like, okay, I've never experienced a hard mode seed that required getting Shack Tool's item without gravity. And like I said, very specific conditions for that to happen.
So this means that Shack Tool is always worth, and you should check him like every seed, right? Is that how it works?
You should check him if he has a required item. If he doesn't, I would say that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I would say that it's a pretty big time sink to not to go there and not find an item. So you want to know that there's an item there before you go there. Generally,
that makes sense.
And the best way to know if there's an item there is to make your partner go check it, which is what Alucard very smartly has done. So
very heads up play from Alucard there. So good use of team cooperation here. But I'm sure Andy kind of face palming a little bit, finding his Master Sword in Skullwoods when he could have gone here a bit earlier. But even still, Master Sword, very nice, is a base requirement in order to defeat Ganon. And as well, it'll give access to 2 of the tablet items. Having the mirror, Andy does have access to both the one on Death Mountain and the one south of Link's house.
Remind me where the mirror was again.
That was in Desert.
Okay, Desert.
Nice fight against Mothula from Andy. It would take 8 Master Sword slashes or Fire Rod shots, 4 Master Sword charge spins, or 4 Hammer strikes. Hammer is actually very, very strong against Mothula here, but with half magic Fire Rod, that's also just makes for a very simple, straightforward fight.
Hey, Gazelle. How many tempered spins does it take to kill Mothula?
A lot. A lot of tempered spins. And by a lot, I mean you can't actually attack Mothula with tempered spins. Mothula will not take damage from spike traps in the room, which is the same damage class as tempered slashes or tempered spins. So Mothula is actually immune to them. Sometimes you'll see runners that are newer to the game try and do a temper spin against Mothula. I'll do absolutely no damage. Butter Sword is the same as tempered spin. So in the normal randomizer, they actually changed Butter's properties during the Mothula fight to be like the Tempered Sword as a type of quote-unquote fix to the fight. Just in the event that you do have Butter, it'll behave like Temper for the sake of the fight because of spike traps.
This is a personal thing, but I really wish that they hadn't done that because I really like seeing the Gold Sword poke fight. But
I think it was more of a quick fix. I forget if it's class 4, right? Class 4.
So it's Moth is immune to both class 4 and class 5 damage, but spikes specifically are class 4. But
yeah, they're class 4. Okay.
But anyways, like what the change actually does is, if you have Tempered Sword in Mothula's room, if you have Gold Sword in Mothula's room, it just pretends it's the Tempered Sword. So if you do a Gold Slash, it'll act like a Tempered Slash. If you do a Gold Spin, it'll act like a Tempered Spin, which won't do any damage.
Tempered Spin is class 5.
Well, okay, so Wild is trying to make his way back through Kakatak Alley to get. I think he wants to go back to Link to the Past, and the fastest way is through the Meridian Missile Station portal. And he's trying to do something extremely difficult. He's trying to do single wall underwater wall jumps. Manages to do it to the point where he can reach the waterline and space jump out. That is it's just like that just blows my mind that people can do that. When you wall jump, it forces you away from the wall, and the way water physics work, it's just extremely difficult to press back in the direction of the wall in time to be able to actually chain wall jumps like that.
Yeah,
No.
Oh, okay. So Ivan didn't get the Ken Samaria.
Okay, what?
Oh, now you want to listen. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So Ivan got the Ken Samaria.
Okay, but what were you going to say to me?
Nothing.
Okay. I said no and you said it anyways.
Maybe I just want to say your name.
Okay. You can say it again, I don't mind.
No. So Ivan, leaving Meridia, heading to Kraid. But not actually going to Kraid. I just meant that direction.
Hey, Tear. You're supposed to say no.
Okay. Ooh, that was nice by Andy. Speed Gaming, After Dark. Pug Puzzle by Alucard. No boots. Much slower. Much unfortunate.
Those pegs last much longer.
So now, Super Metroid, we can go at Speedy Zoop Zoop. Got the play button. You can do one of the funnest tricks in the game now, spine sharks.
The rotated chevron. Actually, the play button faces the other way. The less than symbol.
I feel like there could be some strong symbology mixed in there, but oh no, I always get hyped when I see Speed Booster.
Yeah, it's
Hour 30
kind of get way more hype seeing Speed Booster than a lot of other items. There's definitely an inequality in the amount of hype that is generated.
You're saying it's less than. Fair enough. But yeah, Andy back in Meridia, going dope. Now to get the Samaria, kind of Samaria here. Obviously, they will need it, so it's good that he'll have it. But I'm sure he was wishing at it much earlier, not having to make the trip all the way back here. But
so I'm thinking Mirror and Desert. Everyone has the book. Book was in Kraid's area.
Hey, hey, whoop whoop. So Alucard, I'm gonna take his hookshot. Canis Maria, rods, hammer, glove, and not go to a rock. Gonna cash in purple chest to finish up the Smith sequence here. Hey, listen. Hey. When can we have Navi sounds for the heartbeats? Link to the past, that'd be really fun. I like to do that in the Ocarina of Time Rando. Navi and the Zelda Gats are the best ones.
So who do you think? Who do you think's winning?
Chat is winning. I don't think Menager though is. He's not on board with the Navi.
Wait. Oh, okay. So I always hear the phrase "chat is winning," and I think I'm starting to understand why the racers are not allowed to be in the chat during the race, so that they don't automatically win.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Probably. But yeah, and I'm kind of going to get his speed booster here. And yeah, I'm going to get the mirror.
So the only check that speed booster opens that you cannot look at or access through other means is
freeze that wall. Sorry.
The waterway.
Sorry, Alucard was displaying a very beautiful rendition of "Here is the ice rod" sound over and over and over again in order to drain the magic, because you can do a trick where you take the Canis Maria, and if you have no magic, you can activate it, and you'll get the burp burp kind of sound to denote that you have no magic. But if you swap over to the mushroom, the game will kind of read that you have powder, because they take the same slot, and there's a bunch of voodoo magic game mechanics that happen. Won't bore you with it, but long story short, you pull out the mushroom and it functions like powder, which lets you check the powder bat. Now I can train the mushroom and not have to worry about finding powder whatsoever. What sound? Oh, it's burp burp. Not to be confused with like the ice rod or whichever.
This used to be a stream. So yeah. Unfortunately, I guess maybe fortunately, so Alucard using the ice rod repeatedly on that wall, while it may have created a reflective surface that's not going to function as the mirror for him. So he's gonna have to find it in desert. Yeah,
I'll have to reflect on the various options here. Well, the Anaconda not getting the quick warp, entering Skullwoods. It's a very minor time save. Anytime you go between the light and the dark world, you can save about 30 frames if you are on a specific X-coordinate position in relation to where the game's camera is. And if you're in that position, the warps will go much quicker. Hence the very creative and literal name of quick warp. If you see a player, especially like, say, Andy, enter a certain way into a warp, it might look a little strange, like, oh, you just go like straight into the warp, why do you kind of augment his movement? It's actually faster to do that in order to facilitate for the quick warp.
Yeah, a big place you can see that is mirroring outside a swamp. You want to do it slightly off-center to the right of the entrance. It saves 34 frames, and let's see what else. Oh yeah, I think it's I think it works on 2 specific X-coordinate pixels out of every 8. So 2 out of every 8 will be working quick warp.
Yeah, and it's very easy to miss, but you saw how Andy did a menu buffer there before entering. So he did get the quick warp, and it's, again, very subtle, but you'll see as A Link to the Past runners, especially season 1s, know that they're going to have to do a certain type of menu. So Andy moved into a position, pulled out the menu in order to get the medallion that you need to enter Turtle Rock, and doing so also allowed him to check his pixel position in order to get that quick warp. A Link to the Past has a lot of things like that, and as a casual viewer, it's very easy for most of them to go over your head. Obviously, Super Metroid, a lot of the little things are a lot more explicit, but you know, it cannot be over understate kind of everything that goes into being a proficient runner in either game.
They're actually having sync modular fights on the bottom here.
Yeah, they entered in at the exact same time about. So that was pretty neat.
And Alucard is cleaning up Lower Norfair right now, and he knows from Wild's information that the ice beam was here and little else. That ice beam is going to be necessary for actually, let me think. It's going to be helpful if it turns out that he needs to complete Meridia suitless, unless Wild stumbles upon gravity somewhere.
Wild having a little trouble with these dead rocks. It should be noted that before the dead rock freezes, you can actually strike it multiple times. So if you anticipate that the dead rock will be in your way, you can continue to attack the dead rock with all your fury and ensure that they are not in your path. Oftentimes a lot of people will just kind of slash them and they'll just kind of pray that they won't be in the way. But if you have the hook shot out, you can use the hook shot as a bit of a ranged weapon in order to take out and push the dead rock further. I guess something really simple to kind of mention is that the way Link moves in A Link to the Past is that on average his pixel movement is about 1.5 pixels a frame, but his movement oscillates between 212 and 21 pixels if you are facing north or west. If you're facing east or south, his oscillation begins at 1, then 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 pixels. So if you especially pay attention to Andy, the way he's moving might look a little peculiar, especially even the way he's facing. But that's in order to have kind of little pixel boosts. Obviously, Super Metroid, you think of like the shoulder pumping. Very similar type of concept in a way. I mean, very different in application, but just the idea of, you know, frame savers here and there. And the hook shot, if you hook an item.
That's a good podcast, by the way.
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
Trying to get a word in. But the hook shot will make you move at 2 pixels a frame, so a little bit faster to use the hook shot, but yeah. Okay, go ahead. Podcast. Woo. Ridley. Wow. Alucard. Woo. Flips and great Ridley fight. Wow. Awesome.
Oh, you already said everything, so.
Yeah, okay. WildAnaconda in the cinnamon bun room. Andy in the Hokuboku room. 16 different RNG patterns that you can get there, or you can just take your fire out and shoot everything and not care. That's cool too. Alucard doing lots of flippy movements. All thanks to space jump. Whoa, look at those dodges.
I thought it was due to the flippers. Isn't that what causes flippy movement?
What are flippers? I thought they were finger webs.
There's no, those are
that's the name, right? Finger webs?
No, those are what you buy from Zora.
Oh, in the English version, they're called flippers, right?
No, I'm talking about the things that you need to be able to swim in the game that you're not playing. They're in.
Oh, you need the flipper suit.
Yeah, it's at Shack Tool.
Yeah, okay. So go to Shack Tool and you can swim in Super Metroid.
Yeah, so Alucard and Wilds have the flippers, and Andy and Ivan do not. And okay, so as far as gravity suit location goes, Andy and Wild are making headway into Turtle Rock right now, and we know gravity has to be available somewhere outside of Ganon's tower. Because Ganon's Tower actually has a logical requirement of beating all 4 Super Metroid bosses. And this is just to prevent significant Super Metroid progression from being locked behind playing all of Link to the Past. Because kind of the point of the crossover randomizer is to switch between the 2 games. And if the entirety of one game is gated behind the entirety of another, then there's kind of not as much point in... might as well just play the randomizer separately.
Yeah, it would definitely make for not as much fun or interesting scenarios. It should be noted that in terms of the finger webs, that was the name of the item, the flippers, in the Japanese version. This is kind of a little bit of a play there. And if you played A Link to the Past randomizer, you might see...
Alucard has... Oh! Yeah, so these red key hunters, I mentioned them a while ago. Ivan having a lot of trouble with them earlier. Alucard kind of backed into a corner, and that save point does not look like it's in lowered. Oh, never mind. No, okay.
But still, it will be a bit of a time sink here. I think that happened to me in my in the first tournament match for myself as well. Just the amount of damage that enemies do in Lower Norfair is quite extensive. So not as disastrous as it could be, but still a time hit, most certainly.
Yeah, just the nature of this area, it's very easy to be trapped between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, for sure.
The key hunters, like all the enemies surrounding you or that save point is doing a lot of damage, and if you save there with very low health, you're gonna have a really bad time getting out, especially with low resources, like low super count or whatnot.
Yeah, I'm Andy on Trinix here. I'm not gonna do backdoor strats, just gonna keep it simple. The hammer does temper damage, so you know, you might see temper get used in tandem with Master Sword, but
oh wow, he actually missed the he missed the initial spin of phase 2.
Ooh, oh, okay, yeah. It was starting to get pretty close there. You can get again, as Almost was mentioning, a double spin on Trinix. It's kind of a little bit funny because you want to be really close to Trinex, and it depends on your, just positioning where Trinex is, whether you'll be able to get a clean double. Getting what was that, wave?
Yeah, that was wave baby.
That's a pretty alright find.
But yeah, so he also made only having Master Sword, Hammer is a good source of damage on the heads. Also, I like judicious use of the Fire Rod on the Ice Head if you have half magic. Fire Rod will also, like the rods, the respective rod for each head, when the head is stunned, will also do the same amount of damage as a Tempered Slash. That's more seldom used. I think a lot of people often don't think to spam Fire Rod at the Ice Head of half magic, but it's definitely better than using the sword.
Yeah, it really depends because there are a couple of different strategies that you can use for Trinex. So if you're in a case where your sword isn't as strong, then and especially if you're not doing like a backdoor strat, don't have boots, then it would definitely be worthwhile with half magic. In terms of, say, like energy 80% speed run, that just wouldn't be applicable whatsoever. So it's not a strategy you'll see that often. Actually, I would say probably by newer rando runners, is because it's a very simple thing to go, oh, hey, I'll just throw a lot of fire out shots, but it actually is effective. So kind of funny in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, if you have something that makes it faster, definitely use it.
Wild has to be a little bit careful here. So going for laser skips, they're not too bad, but they do require a little bit of precise timing. The front of the laser is where the hitbox the hitbox will be. So you have to be quite careful. You saw that he took a safety door here. So in the event that he does die, he will respawn back at the end of the dungeon. But just being very patient, making sure to not get taken out.
Yeah, that was very nicely done.
Not just too slow, but steady.
I think ACMLM actually prefers to do laser skips bootless, which is I find very odd.
So I kind of come from fighting games. Hurtbox can function like a hitbox, but you're not actually hurting the laser. So the terminology, like if you understand the concept, it'll get the same kind of idea across, but I don't think it'd be technically correct.
I always forget which, if we're differentiating hitboxes and hurtboxes, I always forget, which one is correct in which situation. So I tend to just say hitbox,
yeah,
and I think that's where most people
hitbox
go.
Is more of an umbrella term, but you think like Helmstor and the Jewel. Helmstor's hurtbox on the Jewel isn't directly aligned with the Jewel. It's a little bit off. And then you think like the hitbox of the hammer facing north, it's a little bit augmented, or a little bit off from Link as well. But yeah, hitbox is more the catch-all. Yeah, hurtbox is slightly more
We haven't seen Ice Palace at all, have we?
Nope. Team Blue here, otherwise known as Team Farts, could do a fake flipper. Red team here, Team Wildcard, do have the flippers, so they know that it's fully in logic to complete. But yeah, no ice so far. Ices have 3 items, can be a little bit longer of a dungeon, a little bit trickier to execute quickly. Yeah, still, and I mean it's penance, it's not as appealing, but.
So Team Wildcard is still looking for the mirror. They need that to get into Swamp Palace. What does Team Farts need?
Sorry, what do they need in regards to?
Beating the game.
Oh, well, they would need flippers for Swamp.
They need flippers. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm missing here. Thank you.
Ivan doesn't. Oh, he's about to get bombos.
Yeah, I just mean like collectively, like
that shock tool.
Trying to keep track again of what they're missing, because we don't have a go mode yet, but Yeah, we do have no mode. I think we've had no mode for a fair bit, actually.
Yeah, it's been fairly interesting. Just a lot of progression with a mix of like not very much progression. So yeah, for the left team here, they do need the flippers for Swamp. The right team, they need Mirror. If they do not currently have it, which seems to be the case. Evan's finished Kraid, right?
Yeah, so
yeah, okay.
I think Wildcard is in a much stronger position right now because the item they're missing is in a much easier location.
Yeah, Desert is very quick 2 items. They've had the book for a while, so you know, especially considering Alucard's Boulder play with Skullwits, it's a little surprising that they wouldn't cash in on the book, but not a big deal either way. It's going to Andy to make that play. Nice X-ray. If we're just going to continue the rhymes, I suppose.
Oh, X-ray. Well, that'll help with escaping Dragon if Alucard ends up having to do that.
Now all I need is plasma, and they can do X-ray or microwave. Okay. But yeah, they need the mirror. But that's a much simpler end to get. Shock Tool a little bit more of the way.
We need plasma, right?
Just like for the microwave strat, or
I mean, like, we haven't found plasma yet.
No, we haven't found plasma.
Okay, sorry, I'm thinking of.
Yeah, it's like, well, we have charge, but I mean, we have missiles as well. I don't know their current count, but yeah.
Yeah, so Wild's activating the duck, and finally. So I wonder if he's going to head over to desert area or anything like that.
Very nice use of that silver arrow hitbox to take out Homosaur's jewel hurtbox.
Okay, where is he? Oh, he's gonna dig up the power bombs. The other dig spot. Digging game.
Yeah, really it is a race to kind of see how long it takes Team Farts here to find the flippers. And of course for Team Wildcard to get the mirror, but Desert is just a much more apparent place. We're talking about a longer one-off with Shock Tool versus 2 items of Desert where you can flute to it, and you've had the book for a long time.
Okay, I want to clarify that the flippers at Shack Tool are in logic. I was talking earlier about you need a very specific combination of items in hard mode for Shack Tool to be in logic without gravity. But Wilds did have those items, and he did do the Shack Tool check, suitless, and found flippers. Dragon's item is not in logic without gravity. But yeah, for like as far as we know, those flippers could be required for Gravity Suit. Gravity Suit could be in Swamp, could be in Ice. We haven't seen any of Ice yet. The items in question again needed for the Sealed Shack Tool to be in logic: High Jump, Ice Beam, Grapple, Spring Ball, and Space Jump. You need all of those.
Yeah, we have WildAnaconda here going to go get his silvers, and Alucard en route to get his mirror. So Team Wildcard in a very strong position here currently. Kind of a funny comment in chat: if Team Farts here doesn't make their way to Shock Tool soon, they'll be letting her rip in terms of their seat here. But
Wild getting silver is about an hour and a half later than Alucard found them.
Yeah, which makes a lot of sense. Again, it's something like Vitreous bosses where you would want a strong item. that's where silvers will come more into view, and or if you're not expecting to find temper, kind of the time save of silvers versus mastering tempered sword can be a little bit up in the air depending on the situation.
And
Alucard getting his mirror. Yeah.
1 hour and 54 minutes. Team Wildcard is in go mode.
No, without gravity still. But that is...
Don't need gravity for go mode.
Not too much of a problem.
But yeah, I mean, logically, the game acts as if you need it. But
yeah.
We also say things about, like we also say things like that in relation to the lamp. Like, it's really logically no different than skipping the lamp. Like, as long as you know what you're doing, it's all perfectly valid and good. Just won't be required.
Yeah. This is more noteworthy that they do in fact not have gravity at all yet.
Yeah, so when I say go mode, that means no extraneous checks need to be done. The team has, like, the team or the individual player in question, as the situation calls for it, has knowledge of where the items they need to beat the game are. No mode, like, collectively, no mode collectively is more for, like, commentators or viewers watching a race where the runners don't have knowledge of each other, but we do. But, like, knowing where the items are individually, the runners can just go. But anyways.
At this point, gravity is a myth.
Ollie's going to have to go and get those flippers. Now, like, one other way that this could go is, I think Alucard is delaying getting those flippers to wait for one of their team to stumble upon Gravity Suit somewhere. Because if he finds Gravity Suit, that's going to make it a lot quicker for him to go get those flippers, and it's going to make it a lot quicker for him to go fight Dragon. So unless it's like the absolute last thing that they have to do, Ali just might very well delay as long as he can until then.
Yeah, it's a very nice Buttering fight by Andy there. You can use 2 fire rod shots to take out Alan Mola, so time magic, not a problem. Just 2 shots for each of the 3 heads, and gets his green pennant. And I'm gonna cash in for you know, obviously in their case, hopefully a good item. It'd be funny if this is gravity though.
Did we not see what it was yet? I guess. Oh yeah, nobody else actually finished DP. I think gravity's an ice palace. One thing I find interesting about Go mode in the 2v2 format is your time while in Go mode is much longer than in 1v1, because you still have to do all the stuff that your partner did that was required but you didn't yet. You still have to go and get the items that you know the locations of that your partner has found that you don't have.
Yeah.
Go mode in the crossover is already quite long as it is. Like it can be like half an hour longer sometimes, just based on having to clean up the ends of both games. Beat Mother Brain takes maybe 8 minutes. Ganon's Tower can take 10. Turtle Rock take like 5, 6.
If you're slow. No, but yeah, I kind of do like that there is more time put into front-loaded into Go mode, just because then it becomes a lot more less of a guessing game of, you know, how you're going to route or, you know, where you're going to find your items. And it becomes a lot more of the little things, the bits of execution, cleaning up different bosses in different dungeons. Even within Ganon Tower, an experienced player can gain surprisingly minutes over a less experienced player within just Ganon Tower alone, never mind the rest of the game. In some cases, it can be a little bit more negligible, but it is fun to see just, you know, how runners will traverse through and where they may gain or lose time on each other. In the case of, you know, many of these runners, they're a lot more comparable in terms of skill, so the gap won't be as pronounced, but you still will see a lot of time trades.
Yeah, had a thing I was going to mention. Oh yeah, so one of the crucial aspects of the 2v2 format here is the way that timing works is your team's time is the time of your final finishing player. So both members have to be done for your time to count. So that means that a large time disparity between two members of a team, if one member is way ahead of the other one, that's a lead that does not help them at all. Like, that time that they're ahead is useless. And in fact, they could actually make use of it doing extra checks for something that would help endgame. Like, maybe if they were missing Ice Beam, the player in front could check. But the idea behind the co-op format is this one in particular. You want to balance your progression with your partner so that you meet at the end in roughly the same spot. Otherwise, the straggling player is going to hurt your team's time. So we see that...
tournament placing.
Yeah. Let's not talk about that. But yeah, we see that Wild has 3 crystals to Alucard's 5, but he has all SM bosses defeated. Did I miss something?
Yeah, and you having a bit of a dead rock rave here. He got stuck in the middle of it, and so it's a little bit more unusual to see. It's pretty funny, but
I mean, it looked like the game functioning perfectly as intended to me, so I didn't notice anything. But anyways, yeah, so Alucard has 2 SM bosses still to defeat, and has to go get those flippers from Shacktool. That in of itself is a very long time sink, and he is still hoping to know the location of gravity by the time he has to make the call to go there. So, like, if Wild happens to stumble upon gravity in Swamp, I'm actually kind of interested to see if Wild does any checks here. I don't know, I see him going left side. Like, their team's in go mode, right? So, he could beeline straight to the back, but it's possible that he's actually choosing to do these extra checks to try and find gravity to inform Ali's decision of when he wants to go and grab the flippers from Shacktool. Because if Wild, sorry.
No, go ahead.
So, like, my overall point here is that if Wild finds gravity suit in Swamp, Alucard will know that it won't be possible for him to get gravity suit without getting those flippers first. So now the time sink is completely warranted. It's unavoidable. Maybe I'm missing something too, like, I don't think I am, but going left side, it's a large time sink. It's 3 minutes for 2 item checks. There could be, like, a sword here, the final sword, But if it's here, then like if there's a sword in the left side swamp and the person who's ahead finds it, do you tell your partner to go take the 2-3 minutes to get it?
Well, right now, in terms of the concern, I don't know their ammo count or resources from Mother Brain. Because we don't.
Well, they have charge beams, so it doesn't matter hugely.
Okay.
They also have charge ice wave spazer. Wave will be on tracks.
Yeah, I was just wondering in terms of time save, if it would have been worth it to make the extra checks.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the left side of swamp. If a useful item is there, if a slightly useful item is there post go mode, but it takes 3 minutes to go get it, and you find that that something's there, are you going to tell your partner to go get it? Because it just maybe there's something I'm missing, but it just doesn't seem worth it to me to even check that.
Well, if one runner is decently ahead, and you know in terms of the time it would take for them to sync up, yeah, like you could spend that investment, and like, oh no, it's interesting. Like if Wild, you know, just because there'll be a disparity between the progression of both runners, so a check like that could be worthwhile. But yeah, in terms of consolidating and knowing whether it's worth, and then if you do find the worth, a little bit hard to say. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely interesting strategy.
Like I can see checking extra checks that are slightly out of the way. Like maybe you find a big key in Ganon's tower, and maybe you check a couple rooms extra for another sword if you're ahead. But left side swamp, I just don't really understand.
Well, because Wild's done all those Super Metroid bosses. Alucard has 2, but he's up quite a lot of Crystal Dungeon progression. Wild was in Swamp first, so it's kind of like if there was something in Swamp, it's like the fact that I already checked it means that Alucard wouldn't have to. But yeah, just in terms of considering the position and everything, I don't know. It's
maybe if like a confirmation that gravity is there, but that's the only thing I can really think of. But yeah,
well,
so
I mean, in that case, I mean, yeah, maybe for Alucard, right? I don't know how comfortable it is with Suitless Dragon.
Speaking of Suitless Dragon, Ivan making his way out of there, having done the grapple jump, doing the spring ball jumps out.
Hey.
Well,
Hey, hey,
hi.
Hey, listen.
Hi. I'm listening.
That's good.
Don't do this to me.
But yeah. Yeah, so Gravity at Argus. Pretty funny. Teehee.
Teehee. Pilo. Okay, so Alucard looks like he's going straight to Meridia, so I think, yeah, he was waiting on that knowledge to decide whether to go for it or not.
Yeah. And I've been taking a death there. That's really unfortunate.
Oh, where did he die? He must not have saved on the way out of Dragon, so he's gonna have to do the fight again.
He was in the sun pit. I don't quite know what happened, but it's this. I think maybe he had like a mock turret on him and he was stuck in the sand and couldn't escape. Unfortunately, I wasn't looking. I only caught the tail end where he ended up taking the death, but.
Oh, he probably caught the tail end too. Of something. I don't know what.
Yeah, I do like that gravity at Argus.
Oh no, he's doing the RBO strat. My bad. So he didn't do grapple jumps. He did Ivan did a crystal flash. Oh boy. Yeah. Okay. So I'll get back to that in a second. Andy is fake flippering to check the waterfall stuff here. I don't think either he or Ivan managed to get to it. But yeah, so the crystal flash that Ivan just did, if Dragon grabs you in the middle of one, you actually get what's called a flash suit out of it. That countdown timer that the crystal flash uses shares a RAM address with your Shine Spark timer. So if you manage to get it frozen at a non-zero value, the game reads that RAM address to determine whether you can use a Shine Spark or not. If it's not 0, that means your Shine Spark that means it hasn't run down. So normally your Shine Spark timer ticks down by 1 every frame. But in the case of interrupting a crystal flash like that, it uses the same RAM address, but the routine that a Shine Spark timer is going down isn't occurring. So it doesn't tick down. So essentially it's frozen. So you can use a Shine Spark whenever you want, one time, basically. But yeah, that's what he did to get out of Dragon's area, and to him that's probably a lot easier than the grapple jump method. The grapple jump method is very nuanced, and I find it's easy to do with practice and with understanding of how the bounces against the ledge works. But it's very difficult to learn. So, I don't know, Shack Tool is a really hard sell, even under the exact conditions that you need for it to be in logic without gravity. So I don't know if Ivan will even go there or not. It's possible that, like, I would say Ivan's very good as a Super Metroid player. He used to be top 3 in any percent, and 100%. And he can definitely do a lot of the harder tricks and suitless strategies and whatnot. But as far as randomizers and as far as things like reverse boss order go, he does not have as much experience on that front as Wild does. And Ivan's still the more experienced of the two of his team in SM. Sorry, Ivan is more experienced in SM. Tripping over my words here. But anyways, he might not... He just might not be thinking of Shack Tool. Similar to how he may not have been thinking of Samaria at Mama Turtle earlier.
Yeah, it can be hard to say. And, you know, obviously if there is more on the table, then, you know, you might be thinking that kind of stuff, but...
he's going left. Earlier. He's going left out of the left sand pit that is away from Shack Tool.
Yeah. Just in 2v2.
Oh, he's going. Is he going back?
He turned back. No, and he turned back again. And turned back again. But in general, he's trying to go to the right. And in co-op, because the other communication, the longer one-off checks are not as bad to make. Andy's done more pendant dungeons and gotten different information for Ivan. But in terms of progression, Ivan is in a good spot overall. And yeah, unfortunately, decided not to go for it.
Alucard2004 is not in a very good spot. Yeah, he's gonna have to reset the room now. That is not high enough to get him across there. Oh, actually, never mind. Yeah, okay, they go back up, actually. I did not know this. Because I don't screw up things like this, that's why I didn't know. Just to clarify. Anyways. Getting across that Avir and getting over to... Okay. I didn't get to mention it when Wild did it, but the way that Wild got through this little space in the ceiling here was really cool. Alucard, I guess, is going to do the same thing. So he's going to do what's called a flatly jump. If you do a turnaround and your turnaround causes you to fall off a ledge, you'll have one frame falling off the ledge where you can actually jump from a lower point. So that jump is going to... The jump being from the lower point is going to let him get into that one tile gap.
It's a pretty interesting situation here. You can just hear the real-time coaching, not literally, but this is... Oh man.
Okay, I think it's not. I think it's not actually one frame, and I'm just wrong about that. But
oh, that was okay.
Okay, that was. Did he just go like cleanly through, like cleanly up through there?
Yeah, it looked pretty free.
Okay.
No, that was definitely very smooth though.
Yeah, okay, so what Wild ended up doing, actually, was, I think Wild was a bit lower and didn't make a... Oh, he did wall jumps at the top. Okay, yeah. So wall jumps, if you're in a one-tile wide... what do you call those things? If you're in a one-tile wide tunnel, I guess? Tube? I don't know. If you're in a one-tile wide space, there we go, space. If you're in a one-tile wide space, then you can actually just mash wall jump. You can hold a direction away from one of the walls and just mash. The game will continuously do a wall jump check because you're within range of the wall jump. You're not going anywhere. Column. Thanks, CT. Thank you. Also spelled it with a U, like proper Canadian spelling.
I was going to ask if you never spelled it that way before. But Alucard getting his flippers, water toes, finger webs, all that fun stuff.
I've been doing the check of the plasma beam room without plasma beam, so pretty much only option for killing, well, not only option, but the best option for killing those pink plasma pirates is by shine sparking. They take damage from shine sparks themselves, or blue suit, but the speed echoes that fly off of Samus perpendicularly when she crashes into a wall, those are the most damaging attack in the game. They do 4,096 damage, but they don't actually have their own damage type. They actually use the damage type of a plasma wave uncharged shot, which the plasma pirates are vulnerable to, being plasma pirates. That's actually why the ninja pirates in Modern Warfare will die to that attack. I don't think they take damage from other forms of speed booster.
Yeah, we have an interesting situation here where I've been so close yet so far from Shock Tool.
Oh, the Avirs do 50 damage with Varia, so he's not in a very healthy spot right now.
Yeah, just kind of the narrative of the scene, just precarious situations for runners, but especially for Ivan, just you know, definitely a high level of comfort, but just, man.
I wonder if he's bailing or if he's just retreating. Like, I don't know, he's probably thinking between the two of them, they don't have any checks left. I'm not quite sure. Alucard is probably in the single worst spot in the room to be in.
Yeah. Should have gone swamp earlier. It's only the best dungeon. Get your gravity.
Go to swamp. Get that hint tile that doesn't actually have a hint, because this is not V30.
This is a mix between funny and unfortunate. I'm sorry, Alucard. Looks like, oh no.
Well, this is the first thing.
Around.
Like, he beelines here after leaving Link to the Past, so it's not like he lost any progression. The auto saves, so I don't remember if we talked about this. Every time you go through a portal from A Link to the Past or Super Metroid, between either of the two games, the game auto saves at the ship. Because when you do a hard reset, the game always boots from Super Metroid. So he's gonna end up at the ship here.
Yeah, that is a nice thing. The progression does get saved. Oh man, that's like... You know, okay, you know how you watch someone and they're in a really unfortunate but slightly humorous situation? And
oh wait, never mind. Sorry, he saved at Aqueducts.
Yeah.
Before doing that.
You know how you're watching someone and they're in a difficult but slightly funny situation, and like it's entertaining, but you're also rooting for them. It's like, oh, you did the reset, but I really want to see him get out. Like,
I can't say I know that feeling.
mm-hmm. Like you're rooting for them. It's like you got this. Go go go.
I don't remember the last time I did that.
Got stuck.
So I guess Ivan.
I'm gonna like fake flipper. Can use bush setup there. If you align with the wall and slash a bush, holding out your sword, for just a couple frames, you'll be able to perfectly align with the ledge, jump off, and then be able to hop in the water and screen transition, and the game will read just that we have flippers. So it's a very simple setup to do. So I'm gonna check our friend Hobro here. But unfortunately, none of these locations, of course, will yield flippers because you do, in fact, normally need them in order to get this item.
I thought maybe he was gonna go into ice and... like, I don't know, yeah.
I'm not entirely sure what... I was hoping for, like, a quick check for gravity. I don't know, it's kind of interesting to do that and then not to. I mean, ice is a pendant, but
yeah, I think they're both not sure what to do. Like, yeah, I don't know if they know that check tools and logic or not. Like, this is a thing that I could see them not knowing, like Ivan not being as familiar with the intricacies of Super Metroid randomizers as Wild is. Just like Wild has played hundreds of hours of many different types of Super Metroid randomizer, route randomizer, door randomizer. Alucard has as well.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you just do Shack Tool? Like, is it a matter of not knowing how, or
maybe he doesn't know that you can actually get across that sandfall.
Yeah, like that's the only thing I can think of, because even if it's not fully in logic, the idea is that as long as you're moving forward, as long as you're checking, you know, you're still eliminating variables. So I guess in this case, maybe he's wondering if something is left in wreck ship and doesn't want to overcommit, like with Andy here. But like,
I'm sure Ivan's glad that he got food before the race.
Oh, maybe that's what's going on, grabbing a Hot Pocket or something. Or just you know, routing in. It's like, okay, I hit some frustration, and now I will route in a washroom break, and then by the time I get back, Andy will have solved it. Yeah, no.
Okay, so I'm looking at the race chat, and Andy and Ivan are saying we might have missed something and be stuck. We legit don't think we have any locations left. And Wild correctly guessed that they need flippers, and yeah, so he's graciously told them where the flippers are, and Ivan says, "How do without gravity?" Wild says, "Freeze it here." Ivan says, "How get to without gravity?" Big sandy waterfall, push you down. This game is stupid.
Big sandy waterfall, push you down.
I'm enjoying this too much.
He then calls out to his Lord and Savior, and then proceeds to say, "This game is stupid."
Okay, so Alucard, taking his flippers and heading out.
Yeah, Wild entering GT, having all the crystals, and Alucard escaping out of sandy waterfall, pushing you down room, as it will now forever be canonized as the name in my head.
And the last sword in the game is in Ganon's Tower.
We can do that, right? The right room. Big sandy waterfall room. Next one, push you down. This game is stupid.
Oh yeah, we had a guessing game to do.
Yeah, sorry. There's a lot of developments going on. A bit hard to keep track, but I hope you guys are having fun regardless. Obviously, a lot of you are familiar with what's going on, and if you're unfamiliar with what's going on, I apologize.
I hope the runners are having fun.
Well, they're having fun. That's why you play games, right? To have fun. Why wouldn't they have fun? They're having stupid amounts of fun. But yeah, it's the wild turn to look for the GT big key. On 22 locations, it can be. I was finding that the other store was in GT here.
Yeah, so I guess getting those silvers was the right call.
Yeah. Oh no.
Alucard taking a very seldom seen route. He still has to defeat Fantoon, so I guess this makes sense. But yeah, the Forgotten Highway. I don't think this is faster. I don't think this is faster unless you're coming from Plasma Beam's room. It is the route used in RBO, but you do get Plasma Beam in that. So, but it is a nice novelty area. Go through it, show off the area for the fans.
Yeah, and as Aradile is putting out in chat, they're having fun. Tee. Let's see here. But yeah, Ivan on his way. I'm possibly adding leg by adding shots. I'm not sure. Yeah, you guys wanted some suitless shenanigans. We definitely got some suitless shenanigans. So here, Ivan is in Sand Waterfall, push you down room.
All right, and in a breakthrough of understanding, he says, "Ooh, you freeze the shrimpy man."
And while Anaconda, being ever so gracious, confirms by saying yes.
He also confirms that there is indeed a floor in that room by using the ether medallion.
Ivan is asking, "Can I get out of this stupid teehee set?" when I'm at the bottom. I may have misread one of the words. It's getting a little bit late. I'm sorry.
That's it's perfectly fine. Yeah, so, okay, Ivan being all the way at the bottom of the sand here, what he has to do to get out is, he has to do a crouch jump to gain more height. When you do a crouch jump, your jump actually starts at knee level for whatever reason, so it gets you about half a tile higher.
Ooh. Sorry.
Yeah. And then with that added height, do spin jumps to slowly accrue height, but you're not going to get anywhere if you're too low to begin with.
Okay, Alucard takes out Fantoon.
That was a really nice spring ball jump up through that gap.
Very good stuff by Ivan here to make it through.
It's actually really difficult to get a proper jump out of there going straight up.
Mm-hmm. Like, obviously we're having some fun here, but you know, whether you're a new player, old player, you know, just the idea that you're learning, you're going through and trying things that maybe you haven't tried before. You know, definitely a lot of respect to our runners here. Things like this can be very frustrating, you know, in the heat of the moment. There's a lot going on, you're communicating, you know. Yeah, no, that was a lot of fun to see. I hope you guys did enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And if you too want to have some Shacktool fun, definitely head on over and generate your own hard mode seed today. And you too can be like our runners on exhibition here.
I can't wait to see Andy have to do the same thing. Okay, so Ivan, finding the flippers at Shacktool, gaining the knowledge that the flippers are there and passing that knowledge to his partner Andy. That team farts is now in go mode at
This is good
2
communication.
hours and 34 minutes.
Yeah, great teamwork by our runners.
I have no idea where Wild found the GT Big Key because I was looking at the people in Meridia, and the GT Big Key wasn't in Meridia. Actually, I think it was behind Ice Harmos.
You know, there's something kind of beautiful, poetic by watching Team Blue here. Just the way they spin and slowly move through the water. Oh, it's very serene.
Serenity now.
Serenity now. Insanity mode later. When it gets worked on. But WildAnaconda got through the gauntlet, defeated Bothrine, going through the tower, lighting the torches, taking out the Helmosaur, getting the key, 8 bombs,
Getting another key.
magic shield. Gotta be stylish for when you go fight again. Have a magic shield, go with your tunic. Tosses the bomb, blows up the wall, gonna go fight Moldorm.
Powders the anti-fairies.
Pour some glitter on the fairy. Grab the magic, hit a switch. No boots to hover, gets the hook shot. I guess fun little speed tech thing here. If you take out this red skeleton where Alucard is, the water in this room will fill up faster. And as well, when you come down out of the room with small key under the pot, if you come out straight down and you go to a stairwell, you can begin charging your dash and you will not grab the wall, just because of the interaction with the stairs. So just like little bits of random speed tech.
Here's another bit of tech. If you
fall off a ledge, you'll have to redo the Moldorm fight.
That's a good one. That's not what I was gonna say though. So if you
it's the bootless
if you hammer dash a peg on your way out of the Watergate switch, the water will fill up much slower.
Yeah, just the way the super tiles and the lag interaction within the game. You want to mitigate sprites if you can in the link to the past. It's actually surprising just how much time you can lose, depending on what you're doing. If you actually have too many sprites and say Skullweds with the double Gibdo room before the vanilla big key chest, not the big chest, but the chest where you get the big key. If there's like an item on the ground and you left the enemies alive, the Wallmaster will not even spawn because there's too much on screen.
If you have too many sprites, you're prone to having a sugar crash.
Mm-hmm. Alucard, fighting Argus, hook shine the Argy, 2 Massive Sword Slashes.
He should have gone into Ganon's tower first to get the sword.
I don't know why I didn't. Seems kind of strange.
Yeah, could have come here
No,
first to get gravity.
Ice Pulse is next door. Could have gotten Pence and pulled it for a sword. And Silvers wasn't just shooting them. No, but Anaconda on Ganon here. 4 phases to Ganon. The first phase with Tempered will take 12 slashes. The second phase with the Fire Bats will take another 12 slashes. The third phase that he is currently in will take 4 strikes in order to cause the floor to fall and enter the 4th phase. And the 4th phase, it will take 4 silver arrow shots, or it would take 12 Tempered Sword Char spins. Has 1 heart here, or pardon me, 1.5 hearts.
And Alucard repping the Ice Rod on Argus, and then switching to the Fire Rod because Ice Rod is like impossible to hit things with.
Yeah, Andy, of course, Ivan, now on his way through Mire, but Andy taking a little bit of hit there, thankfully had the reserve and got flippers and making his way out. Yeah, and Wild did not get the torch glitch, but because of the silvers and half magic, that will not be an issue. And has taken out Ganon. Still has to defeat Mother Brain, but is very much ahead right at the moment. Surprisingly, there's still a lot of race left when you really think about it. Wild performed very well, just showing exceptional skill in both games, and especially precarious situation. You know, or rather just the idea that Silas Meridia not being a detriment. That was actually a really nice jump by Alucard. But there are a lot of little things that go in the games that can be hard to go all over them. There's so much to talk about too. But even just that little jump that Alucard did, being aligned there, jumped straight forward into the water, and as opposed to the side, so that would have saved like a tiny little bit of time. Largely negligible in this case, and maybe in general, but and still nice to see either way. And I don't know, I like it. Ivan heading into Vitreous. Because of silver arrows, it will take 1 shot per eyeball. The eyeballs do substantial damage though, as you guys might have just seen. The viscous liquid around Vitreous does not do much damage, so if they did not have silver arrows, you could tank the damage, use the iframes to do charge spins to take out the eyes very quickly as well. But of course,
I get it, iframes.
Yes. Yeah, I see what you did there, and you can take the silver arrows and 1 shot per eyeball, and then 2 for Vitreous. One of the few bosses that actually takes an extra shot of the silver arrows.
Sorry, that was a pretty corny joke.
Yes. It's giving me much ire.
I can hear you smiling.
No, you can't. Shut up. Imagine hearing a smile shaking my SMH. Yeah, Alucard taking out Dragon here. Having the gravity suit, much simpler time here. I'm partial to the gravity suit myself. Favorite color being purple, but have not learned Silas Meridia yet. Looking forward to doing that. Just haven't had the time to really get into the hard logic rando like I'd like to, but I'm a very nice baby skip by Wild.
Definitely getting it very deep into hard logic at some point though. Okay, Wild going for the speed booster Zebetite skip. Wow. Gets it without even falling off the ledge. That's a very tight short charge.
Seems like he's kind of good at the game or something.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so Zebetite skip. There are a few ways to get through the Zebetites. There are normally 4 of them, but to save, processing power, not have so many sprites active. Each successive one only spawns when you destroy the one that's supposed to be before it. So if you skip the first one, none of the remaining ones spawn. Traditionally, most people will use the Ice Beam to freeze a Rinka. The game prioritizes collision with enemies over walls, specifically the outsides of frozen or solid enemies over walls. Instead of walls, rather, not specifically like physically over, but anyways. So you freeze the Rinka in its initial position, and you're able to snap to it. That snaps you partially inside the Zebetite, so you can jump straight through and then run left. Since if you're inside a solid enemy, there's nothing stopping you from running out. But the way that Wilds did the Zebetite skip with Speed Booster, he did a diagonal Shrine Spark into the tiles underneath the Zebetite. The tile at which the cross structure intersects beneath the Zebetite is actually a slope tile. It doesn't need to be a slope tile necessarily, but for whatever reason, they made that tile a slope tile when they made the room. And the weird thing about slope tiles is they don't function like normal solid tiles. They actually continually push the player outwards in a certain direction. So, and the game does this. The game abuses this to. It has square slope tiles actually. You might not think that you need a square tile to be a slope, but the game uses this property for certain tiles to push you outwards to force Shrine Sparks to align correctly in some places so that you don't just accidentally crash into a wall or stub your toe on a ledge or whatever when you're Shrine Sparking, or even running on a slope. So yeah, so that center square is a slope, and because the slope continually pushes you outward in a direction, you're able to spark through it and end up atop it inside Zebetite and then jump through like normal.
Ah, very nice. Sorry. This is kind of fun watching the races on the left, because they're obviously the same team, but blue team and blue dungeon, and they're really close to each other. So it was kind of fun to see like the mini race between the two, and Ivan going for silver arrows and Andy going for fire rod. On Argus in the second cycle, regardless of your sword, you can do 4 fire or ice shots in order to take out Argus. It's not too difficult. With fire, it's easier than ice, simply because with ice, it's a slower shot, so you have to anticipate it more. But so Andy, just the differing stats there, and then Andy taking a little bit of lead over Ivan there, so it's kind of cute to see. But yeah.
One thing that I really have to commend these runners for is they did 2 of these games back to back, and
yeah, in the combo round, that's a lot of playing.
Especially like in the 2v2. Not only is it a lot of playing, but it's a lot of it's 5 to 6 hours of putting up with your partner, and doing this commentary has reminded me just how difficult that can be.
Yeah, it's a nice strategy there from Alucard. Normally you might have the boots in order to bonk over that warp there, and in this case, not having the boots, Alucard swing for the hard hat beetle to knock him across, because if you have the iframes, you will not go through the warp. But because it was taking so long for the beetle to actually get there, it would have been quicker to Oh, that was tricky. He could have gone through the warp and it would have been quicker, but it's still fun to see.
So
because the hard hat beetle got stuck on the gap there.
Wild finishes the seed. First place, the time of 2:48.54.
GG's.
Get your Ood games in chat. To accompany the G from earlier. But yeah, so like the bottleneck in the siege being what it was, being kind of the decider. Didn't see it in play as much for this race, but an overarching theme of doing well in the 2v2 setting is, again, balancing your progression with your teammates' progression so that you hopefully arrive at the end near the same time. The thing about hitting your go mode is that once you hit your go mode, you're much more powerless to divide the work between you because you have no more extraneous checks that need to be done. So like once you hit go mode, however large your disparity, that's probably where it's staying.
Yeah, it's a very kind of minor thing to consider, but a very major aspect to impact the race. Just making sure that you allocate your resources, including your workload. I'm going to assume that Ivan finished Skullwoods, earlier, because it'd be weird if he was in Turtle Rock at this point, but
we definitely saw a double Mothula fight on the bottom, so you did finish Skullwoods.
Yeah. Just trying to confirm, because being here would imply that it was done, because it'd be quicker to just walk across and go to GT, but it's a good Bothrine from Alucard. And the room that Cadence and Maria was made for. It's very satisfying to use Cadence Maria for these two rooms. And it's late, and then he's gonna pull it out for the wizard. So you actually can do a similar strategy with the bow. It's a little bit more technical. I forget the category it's used in at the moment, but
it's in 80% no EG.
Yeah.
Which that category of Link to the Past uses major glitches except for exploration glitch, and basically you get the items that you need to rush Ganon's tower, and you do that. So you get your tempered sword, you get your hammer, get your bow.
Yeah, you skip your hook shot though, and then you hover across the gap. But yeah, it's kind of, you probably saw after watching Alucard that the game lagged when you shot a silver arrow. Additional sprites will add lag to the game. So in terms of tactics, there are actually times where you'd want to turn off silver arrows to use them even within the tower. And especially if you miss a shot with the silvers, it can feel like a pain. It suddenly becomes Suitless Meridia in A Link to the Past, but of course, a lot of time to give on Team Wildcard here.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, Alu rushed into the finish here. Doesn't know where his opponents are. They could be done at any minute now, so he's gonna want to get that dot done in and get that win as soon as he can.
Yeah, it's actually, in terms of the race, Has Annie not done those bosses in Super Metroid? No, because they checked, like... It's a little confusing because I'm obviously watching the last years in this one, and then things taking a long time to go on between, like for a 3-hour seed. I have to wonder what the progression is, because Andy is somewhat close to Alucard. You know, there's still a little bit of a time gap because of the tower, but I'm trying to figure out how far away they actually are from each other.
So Andy's definitely done Ridley because he has Ice Beam. And he wouldn't have left the area without beating Ridley.
Ooh.
Dragon, I don't know, actually. Dragon, I'm uncertain if he's done. I'm pretty sure he's done Phantoon, though. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I saw somebody X Factor Phantoon. And that would have required a wave from Trinex. So maybe that was Alucard, actually. Yeah, okay, that was Alucard. Never mind.
Andy not having a good time with the holes here. Trying to make a one-tile bomb jump, but because it's invisible, it can be a little unclear in terms of trajectory, especially if you may not do it too often, but still gonna try there, no problem. Andy getting is the key. So phase 4, done for Alucard. If you did not have the silver arrows, you could charge your spin, and then after the text, release your spin to get another hit into the cycle. But because of the silvers, that's not a concern here. Really, you just want to... Ooh! Good positioning in order to try and get extra shots, but Alucard taking a death. Again, they still have a lead to give, but that will put more pressure onto the runners. Healthy arrow count still, thankfully, but
yeah. I see that happen a fair bit. Trying to set up quick doubles or triples for silvers.
Yeah, and this is, oh no, an interesting situation. Oh, and he moved out. So that RNG pattern that Ganon has right now is actually one of the most beneficial RNG patterns you can get in terms of the cycle. When you fight Ice Armos in the speedrun, I'm completely blanking on it. The arc variable. There's an arc variable in the game. And if you, long story short, if you fight Ice Armos, the way Ganon interacts in this fight here will be much more predictable. But of course, in Rando, you don't always encounter that. So in here, Ganon's patterns will be different, as well as the fire bats. So when Ganon's in those top two corners, it's beneficial because you can get behind Ganon and then charge a double spin. So with the temper, you will do substantial amounts of damage. But Alucard moved out of the way. You would be in a safe zone, and then having the hook shot, you would be able to get out. Yeah, like what he's doing here. So kind of correcting for the mistakes of the past, and then he'll be able to spin and get out. But he's choosing to stay in there with 4 hearts. Red mail is helpful, but yeah, like there, like.
I'm not certain of this, but I think Armos is the only boss. I think Armos is the only boss where the arc variable doesn't get unset properly.
Yeah, sorry. You only need 3 timber chart spins to KO Ganon, so he could have escaped, but maybe it was a little bit, like maybe he's feeling a little bit shaky right now. It's hard to say. I don't want to assume. But when you're doing the hook shot, there is a window of recovery where you can get hit. I mean, obviously, because you also need to time the button press, but...
Oh, that was close. I think that bat would have done 1 heart, though. The fire bats in the first 3 phases do significantly more damage than
That
phase
was
4.
so close. Sorry. Just
No, it was fine.
He barely slashed and got the torch there. Yeah, just a very gutsy fight, and yeah, oh no, it does take out Ganon here, but that did give our other team here a substantial amount of time. Ivan a little bit unsure on the pathing, lighting the torch. You could also use the Ether Medallion in order to get across, but it's definitely better than trying to fumble around if you are uncertain.
I think the amount of time that torch gives you is like decided on really well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Alucard now into Super Metroid, but Andy has caught out quite a bit because of that, although I don't personally know what bosses Andy has done, so there could still be a substantial time gap here that I'm personally unaware of, but yeah, although we'll see. I don't imagine Alucard will have issues, but you never know, right? You could do something right 1,000 times, then for whatever reason. But still very much in the lead and primed to win.
Ivan definitely has all 4 SM bosses done. I think Andy may not have Dragon done. But yeah, Alucard heading into Turian. Ice Beam gonna help a lot in taking out Metroids in all these rooms. Having charge and not having to worry about ammo at all is nice too. If you don't have charge beam, then you can be under a lot of pressure to conserve every bit of ammo possible. Especially super count. Mother Brain 2 requiring 60 super missiles to dispatch without charge beam.
Actually, that's a good point. We never found the boots. Never found Quick either. Although, I don't think we checked Tower Room. Unsure if right side was done at the moment, but Andrew and Ganon, Alucard, did not have baby skip here.
Could be one of the upper chest checks too, I think. GT.
Ooh. Oh, did Andy never get silvers? Yeah.
I guess not.
I mean, he'll be fine, half magic, so even if he did not get torch glitch, he'd be alright. If you light the first torch on the left before the one on the right goes out at the initiation of phase 4, then the torch on the right will be glitched and never go out, so you'll be able to get extra cycles in here like Andy is doing. It speeds up the fight dramatically, and especially if you don't have much magic, then it will save a lot in terms of magic expenditure. So Andy's showing a very proficient fight there with Ganon. Just very clean. It was very comparable to the fight Alucard had in terms of time there. Just on the fact of the experience alone. Obviously, yeah. Andy, very well known for being energy 80%, as well as other category runners, so that experience definitely paying off you can know the logic and routing and a lot of that stuff, but little things like that really can be a massive boon to your gameplay. And that just consistency, consistent play overall across the board is very important.
Speaking of little things, he's walking after defeating Ganon. He's walking.
Yeah.
Okay, so he still has not defeated Dragon, so he's walking towards the Meridia portal to go take care of that.
Yeah, so unfortunately, in terms of the time in the race, still a very substantial lead for Team Wildcard here, which is well earned, of course. Just
yeah, the reason he's not resetting is because he wants to take this portal directly to Dragon.
Yeah,
otherwise, you would just save and quit, reset the game, and end up at the ship.
Yeah, and I guess Wild is going on a little bit of an adventure here.
It definitely was a good call for the trailing team members to wait on gravity to be known before going for Dragon, knowing that Dragon didn't lead to an item.
Ooh, I haven't taken a hit there. Had a nice dodge to the fire bat earlier, but we'll have to be careful. Should be completely fine.
I'm actually like surprised we didn't notice that Andy never picked up silvers, but it makes sense. I think in his position, I also would have skipped them.
Yeah. I got the information very early, but
like if I see silvers at Gauntlet, that's a lot more than 30 seconds to go get them.
Yeah.
But then it's also, is there a good item in the front of Gauntlet? I might check that using a save scum. I don't know, depends. Actually, like, checking the Gauntlet fronts and then going through the back from then instead of resetting, maybe? Like, I don't know. I can see it making sense both ways. But for Andy, silvers don't save him as much time as they might for lesser skilled runners.
And of course, that is a G or Oud game for Ivan.
And by lesser skilled, I mean like even by small amounts, little things here and there. Consistency overall.
And Ivan heading back real quick to refill, because you can refill missiles at Mother Brain, but supers not so much, and they are most valuable.
Did Ivan walk to the portal?
No, he was at the ship, but he left the ship and then went back.
Oh, he just didn't think to refill the first time. Yeah, that's an interesting quirk of this randomizer, actually. You'd never see this in the vanilla game, but having a ship save that does not have full resources because of the autosaves.
Yeah, and here we have a race on left side. Andy catching up to Ivan.
Oh wow.
And Alucard has finished.
I'm surprised they're so close together. I feel like they were not before.
Mm-hmm. And Carfish in second place, SRL time of 3 hours, 9 minutes, and 4 seconds.
Alright, and Team Wildcard wins our hard mode race.
But who will win our heart mode race? Andy or Ivan? Get your bets in chat now. Let's go. Note that Speed Gaming probably does not condone any actual betting. It is an expression to use.
Speaking of things they don't condone, Ivan's saying he kind of wants to die. But yeah, GG's. See if we can get Wildcard in here once again for an interview.
So it looks like we have both runners in the waiting room. Pull them in. And hey, GG's you two, and congratulations on winning the hard mode exhibition. How's it going?
Thank you.
It's going, that's for sure.
It sure is going.
Yeah, congratulations on your 3-0 in your matchup against these guys now.
Thank you. Yeah.
That probably earned some bragging rights.
There are definitely no slouches, that's for sure.
No, of course.
Oh yeah, they're amazing, and I mean, they have beat us before in skirmish matches, so.
Yeah, for sure. For us, it was fairly unclear for most of the race how it was going to go either way, but what it turned out to be in the end was for Go mode, you guys still needed the mirror from Desert Palace, and they needed the flippers from Shack Tool, and yeah, just like right off the bat, I knew that the mirror is in a much easier spot to find than the flippers, so.
One of those was not like the other.
Definitely.
No. Something else that was interesting is that when Andy had originally gone to Meridia, he did not get the Kansumaria in the Mama Turtle room, so that ate up a chunk of time as well. They did thankfully recover very well from it, but yeah, it was really the Shack Tool bit that kind of tripped them up. But it was somewhat entertaining to see as well, just how just the way every race to kind of converge towards Shack Tool, and it was kind of an expression of really just yeah, just that was definitely linchpin towards the seed there.
So how do you guys feel about this seed requiring that?
I feel that it was a great showcase of what hard mode can do. There's a couple of things that I think are really cool that when putting the stuff in logic with Total, we were just kind of both like, this is like an interesting thing that might not be it's kind of rare, but it would be a really cool thing to have happen. You know, like that's one of them. Having a 5-item requirement for spring ball acquisition, or things things we were talking about before the race, like having morph ball at grapple, or having like the first power bombs at the moat. Like there's all sorts of like really cool, like there's a bunch of like backdoor Suitless Meridia stuff that you can do as well with like really low requirements as well in hard mode. You can go all the way to one of the missiles towards the end of the Lower Norfair escape without morph, and have to go all the way back through Amphitheater too when it's full of acid. There's all sorts of cool stuff that could happen in hard mode. I think this was cool that it did showcase some things. It is unfortunate, however, that it did trip up Andy and Ivan so much. But that's the nature of hard mode.
Yeah, like even even if you do a bunch of hard mode seeds, this kind of situation is really rare. So if you're not like super experienced in a lot of different aspects of SM, then the odd thing like this can still trip you up. Like I know that both of you guys have done a huge variety of SM randos, like, you know, racing door randos all the time back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have good experience with Super Metroid, but honestly, when it comes to Super Metroid, WildAnaconda69 is your guy. If you want to partner with somebody, like I had never done the Flatly, I'd never gone to Spring Bowl. He walked me through all of that, like during the race today.
Yeah, it was.
So it was insane, and I managed to get it first try, and then got stuck in the sand like an idiot. Yeah, but I did it again.
Yeah, it was. Sorry, it was just really fun to see. Just kind of stand there, and then, you know, of course, you can tell as a viewer, the coaching, and then just like, oh, okay, and then you did it. It's like, it's very well done.
Yeah, if anybody's looking to get into hard mode, you know, I'm more than willing to help people like figure out any of the tricks that they don't know. I've even made a tutorial video basically summarizing most of the things that can occur and the tricks and how to complete them in hard mode. That video, it was out of date like a few days after I made it because there were some errors in the logic that had to get fixed and things that were added as well. But definitely feel free to hit me up if anybody's looking to get into hard mode or you have questions about it.
Well, you heard it here. Definitely give our racers a follow. In general, of course, everyone that put their time and effort in regards to production. But if you liked what you see here, you know, again, definitely give the racers a follow. And, you know, maybe hit up Anaconda's shop of tutorials. We do have Andy and Ivan finishing here. Ivan finishing in 3rd place temporarily, then unfinishing, and then refinishing. So I'm a little bit lost for the progression here in terms of time, but yeah, GG's to them. I don't know if they'll want to come in for an interview. It'd be fun to have them, because during the Shaktul incident, I do believe some words were exchanged. Something along the line of "Big Sandy Waterfall, push you down." This game is stupid.
Yeah.
I think words are continuing to be exchanged.
I think our favorite was "Freeze the Shrimpy Guy."
Yeah.
Yeah. I literally died.
Yeah, it's good times are had. Yeah, and they just mentioned they were in a heated race amongst themselves, and of course, coming out of swamp, it was really fun to see. So it's very endearing that between themselves they were in fact having a race between them, and
oh, that's always how 2v2 goes, right? Like, that's Wild crushed me in this one, but I'm gonna remember that the last game I did beat him there, so I'm gonna hold that over him. It's all about that 1v1v2.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The one, yeah, just yeah, they're definitely the 1v1v, 2v2v, 1v1v1s in chat posted. Yeah, I guess any thoughts on the siege or anything else, generally speaking?
I mean, overall, everything, like, it was very generous early on, and we were able to do a lot. Sorry?
Oh, no, I just like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so we were trying to find any chance of bailing out on that Spring Ball location, but obviously once Wild got gravity at Argus, it was just like, all right, well, this is what we're doing.
Oh yeah.
that was kind of our thought process. It's like, okay, eliminate all flipper locations so that we know that like we might not have to go through this, because like Alu said, like I had to talk him through that whole thing, and we didn't know how difficult it was going to be for him or how long that would take. So like if we had a shot at like getting gravity somewhere else and him not having to do that, we wanted to take that. So that's why I was just, you know, doing all of the flipper stuff pretty much immediately.
Also nice crystal spark.
Thank you. One of my favorite things to do in this game.
Yeah, I was kind of questioning why you felt it was worth it to go all the way to left side swamp, because I was thinking in terms of time save, like oh yeah, if gravity is in a quick location, you can rule it out quickly for Alu if you find it, or
True.
if it's like at a distant location, you can tell him to go get it, right?
Yeah.
But left side swamp is a big time sink, and if it's there, then it's not available to him anyways.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and then just ended up being at Argus. So.
Yeah, that was probably the best place for it, at least from our perspective.
Oh yeah.
Especially after checking left side, it was basically the most delayed it could be. I was checking like Mimic Cave and stuff.
Yeah. We're basically just like, you know, if we're gonna delay things, like you check things that, you know, possibly, and he was like, because he got the mirror before I did, so, you know, it's like, okay, check mirror locations while I finish up these flippers things, and then, you know, if it's, as soon as I find that it's not at a flipper's location, like you just need, or if it is at a flipper location, you need to just like peace out. Go get the.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay.
I was gonna say it was pretty interesting because just mentioning the mirror, because Alucard went to Skullwoods and you found the sword, so it's a pretty interesting play. Like obviously go all the way back, but took a little bit longer to cash in the book, which all you guys got fairly early on for the mirror. So it's kind of interesting to see. Was there any special thought in regards to it, or just the fact that, oh, I got, you know, the fire rod early, check that, and then just it never seemed like there was a specifically good time for desert? Or
well, basically going to Skull Woods
was,
you know,
so
doing the front was, yeah, this was amazing, finding the sword there. But going to Skull Woods early is something I like to do these days. It's just like basically overworld locations. And then I was like, you know what? I haven't found any items here, as I was going like with the statue chest to Vanilla Big Key. And then I found an item there, and I was like, why don't we just meme this other chest for fun? That's what I told Wild in chat. I was like, I'm gonna meme this chest and just see what happens. Maybe it'll be something good like gravity or whatever. And then it was a sword, and I was like, okay, I guess we can beat the dungeon. All planned, easy.
That's like the worst place for a sword.
But also the best place when you meme the chest, not expecting it to be a sword, and then you can just complete the dungeon. It was so,
yeah,
so amazing. And then all the sword locations were pretty awful. Like that, there's that one where you have to, you know, that one's arguably not bad because, like, you know, it's free to get, but you just have to gamble on it in the first place. Then there was one at Sick Kid where the first bottle we knew was behind Speed Booster at Wreck Ship Reserve, and then the other bottles we found were like. It's like one was mirror locked, which we got. I guess you could have gotten that a lot earlier, or not, because it was at Floating Island. One was at Super Bunny, which was also locked behind like Suitless Meridia stuff because Mitts. And then the last one was behind Ridley. So like that sword was just really awful to get. And then the pedestal one was really awful to get. And then it's just one in just GT. Like all the swords were just pretty awful in this seed.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Joining us, we have Ivan from Team Farts. Are you holding up there?
I want to die.
Oh
God.
Well, I think I did plenty of that for you, and Ganon. So I think I got that covered.
Oh.
Also,
like
where's
it,
Andy?
I don't know. He's probably not coming.
All right.
We felt kind of bad, just like since this was like a pre-gen seed, and that it had this craziness in it. But yeah, this is what we were talking as you guys were finishing up. That it's just like one of those situations that's like pretty rare, but because of just the nature of hard mode, that's something that can be included because the knowledge is the hardest part. Executing it is not too tricky. It's just knowing that it's a possibility.
Yeah, so I want to ask maybe a little bit of your thoughts or thought processes you're going through the siege. We got a bit of the summary, but maybe a little bit more of the play-by-play. If you had anything to share in that regard.
I don't know. I mean, it seemed fine at the start, and like we knew it was a hard seed, or a hard mode seed. We kind of figured like there was gonna be some kind of logic breaking you'd have to do in Super Metroid that wouldn't be in logic in a normal seed. And like all that we could think of was either Suitless Meridia or like lava diving. So I went down to Lower Norfair real early, and then Andy found a way, or he like found the flute and the mitts elsewhere. I was like, all right, well, like I said, I need a lava dive, and probably should have just. And I wouldn't have been able to get out of Dragon's room at that time anyway, because I went to Dragon, or like back to Dragon's area when I first went into Meridia to get my mitts as well, and I thought about just saving up there and killing her to find out if she had like gravity behind her or something, so I could get out. But I didn't have speed booster at the time, so I couldn't actually kill her and get out either way. This is awful.
Going into Lower Norfair though to get the ice was actually pretty good for the whole Meridia play.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's probably understandable though that in terms of play, the main time loss, a little bit of it was Cicanis and Maria. Angie unfortunately had not got it.
He skipped my control room.
Yeah. And so it was actually very fortunate that you ended up picking it up when you did, because that was like a big question mark. Obviously doing a seed before, and between every little thing, it's really easy to kind of write it off, or to just have that one location where you're like, okay, I've done everything, where is it? And then of course probably the one that really doesn't need to be said in regards to your best friend Shock Tool there.
Yeah, that's
my
real
boy.
Dumb. That's real dumb.
I think so. Obviously, it was kind of funny for us looking at chat, and like I don't know, like bits of funny and unfortunate, of course, but I guess just had to ask your feelings regarding the big sandy waterfall.
Big sandy waterfall. Oh, I saw the clip. I know. Elminster's leaking lines from IRC. I know it happened. It's fine. I hate big sandy waterfalls.
They push you down.
I hate sand.
I sure do.
But yeah, it's very funny, and just the fact that you can laugh about it here, definitely a big credit to you guys. The round can be frustrating, and then just the situations that happen. But it was a lot of fun. So for my part, I really appreciate it and had a great time watching and commentating.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thanks for putting this on. I think it was one of you guys that suggested like doing the game anyways as like a showcase or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad we did. It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously impressive just going from the one race and having the intentions to go again, but these things are very draining, and there's a lot to keep track of. Even in co-op, I mentioned before that you're talking and playing, so you got that going on, and then just the checking and rechecking. It's like, okay, I've asked 5 times now, but was there anything in X location or whichever,
Yep, that happens nonstop, but
yeah, we weren't we obviously didn't know that you could do that or get the spring ball that way. So I think Andy asked me about that when he was first in Meridia, but he didn't have some.
Ice, probably.
It's a 5-item requirement. You need spring ball, you need space, you need high jump, you need ice.
Yeah, he didn't have ice at the time, so he wouldn't have been able to do it anyway. But we were pretty certain that you couldn't do that.
Yeah, I kind of figured that like it was likely to be a tripping point, unless someone is like really, really super well versed in weird SM stuff.
Yeah.
Like
I got to kill,
which Wild definitely is.
I got to kill
Considering he helped write
Dragon.
their logic.
I'm the reason it's there, honestly.
I got to kill Dragon suitless twice. That was fun.
Oh yeah.
I got stuck in the pit immediately outside of her area. And
Oh,
got
that's what
stuck to death. That was great.
I got to kill Shack Tool 4 times.
Yeah, like it is possible to get out of that sand pit. It's tricky though with the crouch jump and other stuff.
Yeah, I've never been able to do it in the spike sand pits.
Yeah, well, it's even more scary there because like you're dying.
Oh no. Obviously starting to wind down here, but I guess I was just curious. So is the name of the enemy Shrimpy Man premeditated, or was that really just spur of the moment?
What, the little shrimps?
I
I don't know what the hell like anything's called in Super Metroid. Everything's a bug or an idiot or something else.
A frog.
Frog.
Yeah, sure, a little frog.
Or Zeb from
little frogs.
Yeah, Zeb from Zebus. Say, okay, you're all Zebs and Zeebs and Zoobs and Shrimps and Bugs and Boogs and
little names for everything. There's like 5
and then
things that I'll
frogs.
call by their actual name.
Frogs and turtles.
Wavers. Wavers a good name.
Birds.
Or clams.
Whatever the hell the pancakes are called. Stupid name too. They're pancakes.
They're either
the
cheap or
flubbers.
curries, depending who you ask.
They're pancakes.
And flapjack.
Well, thank you guys so much for commentating and enduring through this mess of a seed, but hopefully you guys had fun with the hard mode.
Should thank you guys for enduring through this mess of the seed.
And I'd like to thank people for enduring a mess of commentary, maybe, but good times all around. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you for jumping in and doing that. I'm looking forward to listening to what you guys have to say about this seed.
Oh
no.
And super special shout out to Link Force and ALG for doing all the tracking and stuff behind the scenes. That is a lot of work, and I appreciate them for it.
Yeah, it can be a bit of a thankless job. Something I personally like seeing on an overlay, although with this type of stuff there's very little room, unfortunately, but it can often be a thankless job. So yeah, thank you for crediting them.
Yeah, and it looks like Cassidy was also helping out, so shout-outs to him.
Woo! Whoop.
Well, I hope this has inspired many a people to try to play some Super Metroid and Link to the Past combined randomizer. This is
great
a
if you don't play
particularly
hard mode.
brutal example, but normal and hard don't have to be this bad, and normal's definitely a good place to start.
I was gonna say, might feel the situation is fairly inspired, but don't know if they might be inspired, but no, of course, the seeds vary, and really it's just about learning and slow learning. Definitely, if you haven't checked out, I'll get into the normal logic, the normal rando, and it's all about adding little things, right? Every time you play, you learn something, and even that's called the hard logic. It's just a matter of learning, and the more you learn, the more you build, and the easier it seems. So definitely don't be deterred. It's a lot of fun, and there's a reason why people do play it and have made it in the first place. So
yeah, I really like how this this combined randomizer has gotten people from either game to try out the other and kind of come together.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and again, I want to say, like, if people are looking to get into this, like, please, I'm more than willing to help anybody figure things out for getting into combo, because it's such a wonderful experience and fun way to pass the time. So
yeah, jump in the Discord too. There's a lot of helpful people there too that can get you started and going.
Yeah, and as such, would like to plug the weekly. I believe that is Monday and or Sunday and Monday. I forget the times.
I believe it's 3 p.m. Eastern on Sunday and 9 p.m. Eastern on Mondays.
And on Monday, or on both, does the logic... It's been a while since I've done it. I know on Monday it swaps between normal and hard logic for Super Metroid, but yeah, just wondering if it does on a Sunday. But either way,
yeah. So
there are the weeklies, and
I think they just swap back and forth.
Yeah. So this week is normal on the Sunday and hard logic on the Monday, and then it swaps next week. So hard is on the Sunday and normal is on the Monday. So if you can only make one of the time slots, or you only prefer one of the types of logics, you're covered at some point either way.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot of fun. Make sure to check it out.
But yeah.
I think we're winding down. So for our lovely races here, is there any final words?
No, just this was great. Thanks for
great
coming out and watching, everybody.
Woo!
Yeah. Thanks, Andy and Ivan, for putting up such
also
a
Teehee
good fight.
My heart has never been has never beat so fast.
That was a good
Right.
first game.
It was.
Snapchat.
I know Ivan expressed be still my beating heart at one point during the chat there. Maybe not in those words, but yeah, no, thank you, runners. And again, everyone make sure to give them a follow. Of course, thank you, our trackers, and everyone that put everything together here. And thank you, co-commentator, Mr. Elminster.
You're welcome.
It was a lot of fun most of the time.
Most of the time.
But yeah, if you like what we do, of course, feel free to give a follow. It's a lot of fun, big passion, and have a love for the games and play them ourselves. And yeah, for my part, I've been Chef, and I'll throw it on over to Elm for the final word.
Oh, now I have to do it.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Yep. I'm Elminster. Hope you guys enjoyed the tournament as a whole, and thanks so much for watching. Keep an eye out for more crossover rando stuff. Maybe another tournament in the works, as Kiku was talking about earlier. And don't forget to follow the Speed Gaming channels, Speed Gaming 1 through 6. Lots of races of different games going on here all the time. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.